and welcome to King High School in Riverside as the Riverside Poly Bears are kicking off the CIF Southern Section playoffs against Tahquitz in Inland Division action. I'm Pep Fernandez, and we will be right back on GTV with the kickoff. And welcome back to King High School. This is the CIF Southern Section playoffs. We are at King as the Riverside Poly Bears will kick off the Inland Division playoffs against Tahquitz from Hemet. I'm Pep Fernandez. We're joined by Vinny Fazio, the head coach of the Ramona Rams. And Coach Fazio, we really appreciate your time and your insight tonight. You've seen Riverside Poly. They're 10-0. They're very good. What did you see with Riverside Poly that first time around?
They're really, really good. A lot of athletes, very physical football team. It's win or go home time, though, so you got to play your best game tonight or you don't get to play anymore.
Now Riverside Poly marches out a small army, Tahquitz with about 36 guys. We're going to toss it down to our third member of the broadcast team, Jenny Phillips. She's on the sideline with the head coach of the Titans, Dennis Gregovich. Jenny?
Thanks, guys. Coach, this is your first year in a brand new division, a very tough division. What do you think the biggest challenge that Poly is going to pose to you tonight?
They're going to try and test our depth. They're going to try and see, what we're able to do, what adjustments we can make, and they're going to try and bring the game to us, and we have to play calm and try and push back on them.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Guys, back up to you.
All right, thank you, Jenny. And you'll notice that Dennis Gregovich, Coach Fazio, wears the visor, a big Steve Spurrier fan. So I call him the old ball coach. Although it's interesting to note that I had him on my radio show, the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports Radio this past Saturday, and he announced on the air to everyone that this would be his last season. So regardless of how far Tahquitz goes in the playoffs this year, this is it for him. He's going to kind of step back from coaching a little bit and take a break. And he's going against a very good Bears team. He'll need to extend his playoff run against a team in Riverside Poly that is undefeated, 10-0 for the first time since 1985. In '84, Poly last won a CIF title. And Coach Fazio, you know about that CIF title, right? I mean, there's a Riverside Poly kind of a Fazio family connection, Bruick family as well.
Well, my dad was a defensive coordinator in that game. I was in the stands. I was only about 4 years old. But I remember Mark Green running up and down the sidelines. And it's always good for high school football when Riverside Poly's good.
Now we're looking at the Mountain Pass standings. Tahquitz, the third place team out of the Mountain Pass. And Coach, that's a rough deal. You finish third place in your league. You fight, you battle, you scratch and claw to get into the playoffs. And then they say, good luck, you're going to go play Riverside Poly, a team that's undefeated for the first time in about 30 years.
Well, the Mountain Pass is an improved league this year. In the past it's kind of been Citrus Hill and the rest, like Frankie Valley in the Four Seasons. But this year it was improved. San Jacinto's 9-1 team. Hemet was way better. So an improved league in the Mountain Pass, and hopefully that'll have helped the Tahquitz guys.
We're almost set here for kickoff. Riverside Poly going left to right in the grays. Very trendy right now as teams like to go with the grays, right?
Yeah, everything comes around. It was black a few years ago. Gray is the new black, as they say.
All right, so Riverside Poly going left to right. Tahquitz back to receive. Looks like number 2, Dejon Holloway back, as is number 3, Tim Neely. So here we go from King High School, the kickoff. And Holloway goes up for it, but it sails into the end zone and bounces out of the back. So Tahquitz will start on their own 20-yard line. Now, Riverside Poly is a team, Coach, that you do not want to get caught into an avalanche situation. They score, and then they score again, and now you're trying to play catch-up against a very good team. What does Tahquitz have to do to kind of maybe come out there, maybe not set the tone, but at least show that, hey, we're going to hang with you guys, and we're not going to roll over here?
They're going to have to get some first downs. I mean, they can't go 3 and out. They're going to have to protect their quarterback, which is always an issue against that Poly front seven.
Little reverse here by Tahquitz to open things up. That's almost a first down near the 30-yard line for Tahquitz. So how do you like that? Coach Gregovich with a couple tricks up his sleeve to keep Poly on their toes here.
Well, what did Coach Edwards say? You play to win the games. You got to call
Got
to call plays to win the games. A good start.
Xavier Steele finishing up that reverse there, and it looks like it's going to be 2nd and 1 here for Tahquitz. Nearly a first down. At quarterback, Tyalik Davis for Tahquitz. He's a receiver by trade, but playing quarterback here. Here comes Neely with the carry. He's going to take this one outside. Gets about 5 yards on that carry. So maybe long, time-consuming drives will play in Tahquitz's favor, right? You want to keep that Poly offense off the field.
That's a good start up front for Tahquitz. That's a good job up front, controlling, neutralizing the Riverside Poly front. That's going to be the challenge. Can they continue to do that?
Now with all the playmakers on that Riverside Poly offense and defense, we were talking before the game, the real key might be up front in the trenches, right?
Absolutely. That's their chance. They're going to have to neutralize that front 7.
1st and 10 from their own 35. Davis is going to have his man near the 40. That's going to be close to another, about 5 yards short of that first down. Number 2, Jajon Holloway hauling that catch in here.
Good play calling early by Coach Gregovich and his staff. Quick, easy throws for the quarterback to get in a rhythm, and a couple good run plays. It's a great start for Tahquitz. Couldn't have a better start.
When you're going up against a team who decidedly is a heavy favorite like Riverside Poly, keep it simple, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, don't shoot yourself in the foot here.
Great start.
Davis back in the gun. He's going to drop back, throws downfield, looking for number 1, Xavier Steele. He's going to haul it in, cuts up in the middle. He's going to take this one towards the pylon. And Xavier Steele goes in for a Tahquitz touchdown. How do you like that?
That's a good start.
Is there such a thing as being too confident going into a playoff game like this? Or is that just Tahquitz coming out with a great opening drive here?
Yeah, look, Tahquitz makes plays too. I mean, they're a playoff team. They make plays too. They're allowed to play, and that's a great play. Xavier Steele up to get the ball, and then a great run. That's a great play by that kid.
Check out Davis, a receiver by trade. Yeah, he weaves that pass in there. And Steele with some nice moves to get past that secondary. And then it's just a mad dash for that pylon. And Steele goes in for the touchdown. Here comes the extra point. And it is good. And just like that, not even 2 minutes into this game, barely a minute into it. And Tahquitz is on top of undefeated Riverside Poly by a score of 7-zip. Now Dennis Brown's got his team huddled up here. What do you think Coach Brown might be saying to his Poly Bears at this point?
They just got to settle down and play. They're okay. One thing that'll go unnoticed on that last play, that was a blitz by Riverside Poly, a 6-man pressure blitz. And so Steele and Davis get a lot of the credit for that play, but a great job by the front guys for Tahquitz picking up that blitz, picking up that pressure, and allowing him to have time to make a downfield throw.
So 7-zip. Tahquitz traveled pretty well, too. Looking at the visiting sideline, a lot of the fine folks from Hemet making the trip here to Riverside.
Well, there's a few people dressed up as empty seats, but, Southern California traffic, they may get here a little late.
It was certainly a battle getting here with those Southern California freeways. But Tahquitz is here, and they have showed up in a big way, leading Riverside Poly by a score of 7-zip.
Now, could you have a better start if you're Tahquitz? I mean, what a perfect start. Coach Gregovich in his wildest dreams couldn't have drawn it up any better than that.
I joked on the radio show he's going to ride off into the sunset hoisting a CIF title, but I think he'll take an early lead against Riverside Poly in the meantime. That's Akili Ross, recently named an Army All-American. He'll take it to near the 30 as Riverside Poly will go on offense for the first time tonight. And Coach Fazio, when you look across the board with that Riverside Poly offense, you saw them up close and personal. There's not really a weakness.
No, and the guy that makes them go is a quarterback, Chandler Drakesland. He gets them in a lot of plays. He's so good physically, but mentally is where he beats you. He could get them in and out of plays. He gets them in the right stuff. He's a difference maker. Not a lot of quarterbacks can do what he does. Here, you can see him right now doing it.
Drakesland back in the gun, man in motion. They were going 4 wide here. And it's Ian Samudio getting the first carry here. He's going to muscle his way to close to the 40. That should be a first down, or pretty darn close there by Samudio. So a lot of the attention paid to Devontre Hill when you see the ball coming out of the backfield, but Riverside Poly mixing that up here.
Yeah, you got to pay attention to all those guys. They're all good.
They
don't have a bad guy on the field.
Coach, what did they do so well against your Ramona team
Everything.
when you saw them?
They did everything really, really well.
Here comes Devontre Hale right up the middle.
Yeah, good tackle. Good tackle by the linebacker there. That's a good play.
Brings the ball out across the 40, close to the 45 here.
Devontre Hale's hard to tackle. If you can make solo tackles against him, give yourself a chance to get stops.
Devontre Hale approaching 1,500 yards on the season, 24 touchdowns. And he's had some of his biggest games against some of their biggest matchups. Plenty of pressure on Drakeslin. He's hit. The ball's fumbled. It looks like Tahquitz recovers, but there is a flag down on the field.
This is going to be an illegal cut. This is going to be Tahquitz's ball. If they recovered, it's going to be Tahquitz's ball.
Wow, that would be a huge momentum shift if Tahquitz, if this will stand. Oh, they're saying Riverside Poly did recover. Here comes the replay coach.
I think the penalty is going to be that cut block right there, right in the middle there.
That pocket collapsed in a hurry, and Drakeslin was on the run. He fumbled the ball. And it looks like 77 or 66 was in there to recover.
That's a big recovery by Riverside Poly. Big play by the big guys to recover that, get back and recover that fumble.
Solo Vaipulu coming up with that for Riverside Poly. So now Riverside Poly will start on their own 31. Looking at 2nd and 10. Wow, if you're going to draw up a perfect storm for Coach Gregovich, it would be score and then force a turnover and start going back the other way. But
just an incredible start.
So here goes Riverside Poly. They're going 4 wide. Devontre Hale, the only man in the backfield. Drakeslin gives it to Hale. He's going to take this one outside and get to about the 42.
That's the problem with Devontre Hale. You know, they had a guy there in the backfield. They had another guy about 1 yard down the field. He makes both those guys miss. That's a problem. And if you talk about what they did well against us at Ramona, that's one of the things they did really well. You know, we felt like we could get guys to him. We just couldn't get him on the ground.
Between the tackles, outside.
Everywhere.
I mean, he's just a strong running back, and the stats he's put up this season don't lie. Here comes Hale taking the pitch. Goes to his left. He's going to cross the 50 to about the Tahquitz 45-yard line, and a first down for Riverside Poly.
Yeah, that's tough when you get them into second and 20 plus, and they get the first down on 2 run plays. That's a tough way to have to live. But when you got Devontre Hale, you can do things like that. Gonna have to fix that back flap though.
Flopping around, yeah. Looks like a flag football game out there with that thing flapping around. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They give it back to Hale. Another first down. Big run by Devontre Hale right up the gut of that Tahquitz defense to about the Tahquitz 28-yard line.
That's just a counter play. You know, they got him on the hitter to the outside the play before, and then they came back with the counter on that play for big yards. Another first down.
8:45 to go here in the opening frame. Tahquitz marched down on their opening drive. It only took them about 1 minute and 15 seconds to get on the scoreboard. And Tahquitz calling a timeout. Maybe Coach Gregovich sees an opportunity here to, keep Poly off the scoreboard. I mean, if it's a tie game, doesn't sound like a raw deal, but you don't want to get that Riverside Poly machine going, because once they get going, like we said, it might be an avalanche.
I think he just needs to settle his guys back down. You know, they got off to the great start, and they almost looked like they were going to get that turnover. And so then after that didn't happen, now, Poly's made a couple plays. So I think Coach Gregovich just wants to settle his guys back down, get them back to playing the way they played those first couple plays, and see if they can't, continue to make Riverside Poly drive the ball. I mean, that's the key. They haven't let them score quick. They're making them drive it. When you make a team drive it, there's a chance they'll make a mistake.
Tahquitz did recently see Citrus Hill in Mountain Pass League play, and Citrus Hill certainly has a lot of talented skill players. Maybe that prepared them for this Riverside Poly matchup. Toss it out to Hale. The halfback pass. Hale throwing it, looking for Akili Ross.
Great coverage.
And it's broken up, incomplete. So Dennis Brown mixing things up here as well.
Oh, we've seen a reverse now and a toss pass.
There you go.
In the first 5 minutes, so there you go. It's playoffs. Welcome to the playoffs.
Devontre Hale does a little bit of everything for Riverside Poly. Why not throw the ball as well? He had Akili Ross a little bit short. He's trying to come back to the ball a little bit, but it is hit the ground incomplete. So we're looking at 2nd and 10 from the Tahquitz 34-yard line. Drakeslin rolls out, feeling the pressure. He's going to keep it himself. And he's finally pushed out of bounds.
That's dicey on the
around the
sidelines
30.
there. You got to watch that on the sidelines. They're going to call penalties for pushing the quarterback late. One other thing that Riverside Poly does, it's a challenge. You saw on that play, they blocked that exactly like a run play, and then it was a pass to try to mix up the reads of the Tahquitz
trying to throw them off.
So that's a tough thing that Riverside Poly does. Not many teams can do that. Riverside Poly is one of the teams that can pull that off.
So the Bears looking at 3rd and 7 from the Titans 31. Chandler Drakeslin going to his right. The quick slant here to Akili Ross, and that should be enough for a first down. Akili Ross, not only is he athletic and fast, he's a pretty big target as well.
That's when Drakeslин's at his best, when he just gets the snap and gets the ball out of his hand fast. And I guess anybody's at their best when you're throwing to Akili Ross.
He makes a lot of people look good.
Boy, oh boy. He just looks like a player. Just look at him.
Here comes Devontre Hale. Going to his left. He's met right there near the line by number 52 for Tahquitz High School. And that would be Michael Rockmore.
Yeah, that's a great play by Rockmore. He got out there down the line, off a block, coming off a block to make a play. I mean, boy, you got a high school D lineman come off a block to make a play like that, you got a chance.
And Rockmore rocking green dreads for this playoff game against Riverside Poly. Here comes Drakeslin. Little bootleg action. Hits Samudio. He's going to take it inside the 10. He's looking for the pylon. Samudio dives in. We're waiting for the signal. And it's a touchdown.
Just a little bootleg play out of the Poly Bears with the receiver coming all the way across behind the line. Very difficult to cover in man cover. You can lose that guy.
They love to put Samudio in motion. You're right, he rolls out on the bootleg. Hits Samudio here. Nice catch to haul that pass in. Gets a nice block and gets to the outside. Keely Ross also helping. He dives inside that pylon. And here comes the extra point for Riverside Poly. 7:27 to go. And we are all even at 7 apiece.
Credit the downfield block there out of Yakili Ross and the other Riverside Poly receivers. That's what turns a regular play into a touchdown play. You get those downfield blocks out of receivers working hard, blocking for each other. That's a great play by Yakili Ross. That's why he's an All-American.
It's also good to see one of your star players doing things like that,
Absolutely.
doing the blocks and trying to get your guy in the end zone.
You think the kids on the sideline don't see that? You think the freshman team doesn't see that up in the stands, watching Yakili Ross down the field making a block? And they go, hey, at Riverside Poly, we receivers block. That's a great job of leadership by Yakili Ross down the field making that play.
So it's 7-7 now. Riverside Poly ties it up. Looks like we've got Neely back for Tahquitz, as well as number 2, Dejon Holloway. Another big kick sends this into the end zone. So
Tahquitz
Tahquitz
makes kick
once
coverage
again.
easy, doesn't it?
It does.
That's 5-10 minutes a week that they don't have to work on kick coverage. You just kick it in the end zone.
Put that ball in the end zone, yeah. Tim Neely, he's been around the program at Tahquitz for a while. He's had some big games. I'm sure Riverside Poly, part of the plan is don't let that ball get into his hands back there.
Now it's a big drive for Tahquitz to see how they can answer. Now they punched Poly and Poly came right back. Now it's a big question to see how will Tahquitz answer.
Ty Alec Davis back in the shotgun. Flag, looks like a false start against Tahquitz. So Coach, I know you like to play Riverside Poly played this team, and Tahquitz also played that team. So this is what the final score should be. What do you call that? The
score extrapolator.
Score.
That's the Dan Swanstrom score extrapolator.
There
Dan
you go.
Swanstrom's the quarterback coach at the University of Pennsylvania. Little plug for Dan Swanstrom. He's the inventor of the score extrapolator.
Well, we'd have to ask Coach about this one. The only common opponent was Canyon Springs. Poly won 42-16. Tahquitz won 23-14. So maybe somewhere in the middle. 1st and 15 for Tahquitz.
Yeah.
Davis thrown to the outside.
One guy short on that bubble screen. They needed one more guy out there to be able to block the the inside defender. Looked like a little man-to-man coverage out of Riverside Poly, and nobody to block the man-to-man defender on the guy they're trying to throw the screen to.
So
one guy short.
2nd and 15 on their own 15 for Tahquitz. Neely lining up in the backfield with Davis. Tahquitz going 4 wide here. Davis back in the shotgun, drops back, feeling the pressure, dumps it off in a hurry to number 10, Royal Bell. And he'll be close to the original line of scrimmage.
Looked like Evan Telliard on the tackle. The problem on that was the receiver actually got out in front of the offensive lineman.
You need those guys in front of them.
Right,
you need the blocks, right?
You need to wait one more step. Got a little anxious on that underscreen, which you can do when Evan Telliard's standing in there.
Telliard with the team leading 79 tackles, 7 for a loss for Riverside Poly this season. So Tahquitz facing 3rd and 10 here. Davis airs it out. He's got a man, but just overthrows him. That looks like number 6, Xavion Steele.
I'm impressed with Tahquitz's pass protection. Again, quality pass protection, plenty of time to throw for Davis. They're doing a really good job against a tough Riverside Poly front 7.
So what appeared to be a question mark going into the game, Tahquitz doing very well and at least giving Davis enough time to get that ball out of his hands.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trying to get his guys to make some plays here.
I think that's been the difference. That's been what's allowed Tahquitz to have a little success offensively so far.
So facing 4th down on their own 20, Tahquitz punting.
This is dangerous.
That ball's going to sail out maybe around between 35 and their own 40-yard line. So Riverside Poly with a short field to work with here.
Well, and he doesn't get any stats for that, but that's a Achille Ross play. You're trying to kick it away from the Achille Ross. You're trying to kick it out of bounds. The punter's kicking in a place he's not used to kicking it, and so he gets a little shank, and now all of a sudden Riverside Poly's got great field position.
By design, you don't want to put that ball in Achille Ross's hands if you are Tahquitz. But now they'll have to stop the Bears starting on their 33-yard line.
Yeah, you don't want to give them possessions in what we call plus territory, where they start on your end. Riverside Poly's too good to give them the ball in plus territory.
So Chandler Drakesland and the Bears go back to work with a very short field in front of them. 6:40 to go here in the opening quarter. Drakesland feeling the pressure. He's brought down. And a big sack. Looked like number 52.
That's your boy again.
Rockmore.
Rockmore again, yeah. Drakesland's got to protect that ball when he's going down. He's got to protect the football. He's waving the ball around. At this point, it's over.
There it is.
Tuck the ball.
We saw him lose one fumble. Of course, Riverside Poly did recover that.
Give Rockmore some credit. He's making some big plays in there.
Talked to Gregovich before the game. I said, who's your guy on defense? Rockmore, the first one he mentioned. There's Josh Evans on the outside. He's going to muscle his way to about the 30-yard line. And if Achille Ross isn't dangerous enough, they've got another big, strong target in Josh Evans.
Josh Evans looks like Mike Evans of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's right.
He's an NFL. Look at his biceps. The guy looks like he lives in the weight room. Just a natural, big, strong, physical kid. That's your number 2 option.
And if my memory serves me correctly, and sometimes it does, he had a big game against you guys at Ramona.
A lot of people had a big game against us in that game. But
Drakesland on the bootleg. He's going to hook up here with number 14 for Riverside Poly, Ryan Simpson.
Okay, we're in an interesting time now. Big play coming up, 4th down and reasonably long. See what Riverside Poly wants to do here.
Looking at 4th and what, maybe 7, 6?
Yeah, looks like 6.5%. They're going to try a long field goal.
So Riverside Poly lining this one up from the 30. So we're looking at maybe 47, yeah, 47-yard field goal here. Attempt for Riverside Poly. Credit to Tahquitz for holding Riverside Poly on that short field. The kick is up.
He missed it.
By number 99. That would be Kyle Avery. It's no good, so Tahquitz dodges a bullet after giving Riverside Poly great position.
That's a great defensive stop, and credit Rockmore for the sack on first down, but a great defensive stop and keeping themselves in the game. You know, the good thing about it, high school kicking long field goals, though, if you make it to the end zone, the ball starts at the 20-yard line. So it's just like a punt, and there's actually an advantage to trying long field goals if you can kick them in the end zone.
That's a great point, Coach.
It's different from the NFL or college where they take over where you tried the field goal from.
So if you're looking from a Riverside Poly standpoint, no harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul.
So
try it.
You went for it, you didn't get it, but now Tahquitz starts on their own 20.
Absolutely.
Tahquitz continuing to spread this out 4 wide. He's got Tim Neely in the backfield. Davis barking out some orders here. He's back in the shotgun. Throwing it to the outside to Royal Bell. He can't haul it in, and we'll look at 2nd and 10.
One difference you'll notice with Davis versus Drakeslin on the Riverside Poly side, Davis looks over to the sideline to get all of his adjustments from the coaching staff on the sideline. Drakeslin makes many of the adjustments himself. They're built into the offense. And so there's 2 ways to do it, but that just gives you an idea how valuable Drakeslin is.
Ty Alec Davis, the quarterback for Tahquitz, still learning on the job. Just assumed the quarterback duties a couple weeks ago when the starter Billy Keegan was injured in the Beaumont game. Feeling the pressure, Davis rolls out, puts it up. The ball is tipped by Riverside Poly and out of bounds.
Good athleticism by Davis, but that's a dangerous throw. That's a dangerous downfield late throw, and you let the safeties get involved.
So 3rd and 10 from their own 20. With 4:44 to go here in the first quarter. I'm Pep Fernandez, joined by the head coach of the Ramona Rams, the great Vinny Fazio. And well connected as well. You coached at Marietta Valley, Eisenhower, San Jacinto, University of Redlands. Who am I missing out here?
Carter Lions, man.
Oh, Carter Lions, of
9-1
course.
Carter Lions.
Of course. Davis drops back.
Boy, he had him.
Looking for Tim Neely coming across the field. And that'll bring up 4th down.
That was a good route there by Tahquitz to get Neely free, and just couldn't make the throw and the catch. But good play design there. The problem on that series for Tahquitz was a 3 and out with 3 incomplete passes. You run almost no clock, and now you got to give the ball right back to the Riverside Poly guys.
So 4th down, Tahquitz electing to punt here on their own 20. Akili Ross back at his own 45. Let's see what they do this time. Will they kick to Ross? They go for the sideline once again, and Riverside Poly will start around the Tahquitz 35, 34-yard line or so.
Well, I understand the plan by Tahquitz, but they've got to execute that better. That's 2 times that they're not executing. You can't just punt 15 yards. He's got to execute that better. I know what they're trying to kick it away from Ross. They're trying to kick it out of bounds. He's got to do a better job, though.
All right, let's go down to the sideline. Ginny Phillips says more. Ginny?
Pep, thank you so much. So this Tahquitz team is not going to go down easy. As you can see, they're already putting up a big fight so far in the first quarter. Coach Regovich told his team before the game, he's been telling them, guys, just go out and have fun. You're the underdogs. No one expects you to win this game. You have absolutely nothing to lose. Just play your hearts out. Back up to you guys.
Devontre Hale, thanks, Ginny, with the carry there. He picks up a couple for Riverside Poly. When I had Gregovich on the show last week, on the radio show on Fox Sports Radio, he said the same thing. Hey, we've got nothing to lose. We're not expected to win this. And you classify teams in the playoffs as teams that are playing for a championship and teams who battled their way to get to the playoffs, and this is their championship, their bowl game in a sense.
Yeah, we used to talk about, well,
here comes Hale right up the middle. Big carry down to the Tahquitz 11-yard line.
Look who makes that tackle running down the field from the backside. That's Rockmore again. A defensive lineman coming from the backside. Boy, you got to love the way that kid plays.
Fair to say he has a high motor?
Holy
is that what they
down
say?
The field making plays. You got to love that. You see that as a coach. You got to love when your guys are playing hard and competing.
It's coach talk. High motor there. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Hale again. Right up the middle. Looked like the A gap there, and that turns into an touchdown for Riverside Poly. Devontre Hale, if you want to go back to that Rancho Verde game, 5 touchdowns in the second half. He's done it before. He can do it again, carrying a team on his back. And right now, that drive was a lot of Devontre Hale with a short field to work with.
There's been full seasons when Rancho Verde hasn't given up 5 rushing touchdowns. But to score 5 touchdowns as a running back in the second half against a team like Rancho Verde, well, you're Devontre Hale.
And the extra point is up, and it is good. 14-7, Riverside Poly on top. 3 minutes, 42 seconds still to go. But Jenny Phillips made a good point. Tahquitz is not going to go down without a fight here, and they proved that with their opening drive and then forcing that fumble. But they're down by 7 at this point, and you don't want to let this game get out of control once you still have it, in your grasp.
Well, again, when you have 3 and outs and you're a throwing team, you've got to be able to make first downs. You can't go 3 and out, throw 3 incomplete pass, give the ball right back. It doesn't allow your defense to rest, and it doesn't run enough clock off the. Tahquitz has to shorten this game if they're going to have a chance to win it. The more possessions, the more plays there are, the more opportunity there is for Riverside Poly's superior depth and athletes to take over.
Matt Hubert handles the kickoff duties for Riverside Poly. This one just shy of the end zone, so Tahquitz will bring it out. Nice run here by number 2 Holloway for Tahquitz. Brings it out to about the 30 or so.
Well, that is one of the issues when you're a team that kicks the ball in the end zone a lot. On the ones you don't kick it in the end zone, you're not really used to covering it. So that is an issue for a team that kicks it in the end zone a lot if they miss.
So here comes Tahquitz starting from their own 30. Can they duplicate what they did on their opening drive against Riverside Poly and string together a couple passes and lead them to the end zone? Davis barking out some commands to his receivers. 1 to his left, 3 to his right. He's going to hand off to Tim Neely. And nothing doing there. Riverside Poly stuffs him right at the line.
They've got to keep doing that, though. I know it didn't work on that play, but they've got to keep running the football. It can't just become passing league. Otherwise, Riverside Poly is going to be able to pin their ears back and go.
Jesse Ibarra there for Riverside Poly, clogging up that line.
Jesse Ibarra is a junior. That kid look like a junior to you?
He looks like a man out there.
Like the grave digger.
He's a big, strong kid, and he's anchors that line along with Cron Lowe. And look who it is. Number 33, Evan Telliard, bringing Davis down for the sack.
Another good play by Telliard. He's all over the field. He's just a really smart player. Other than being a really good athlete, he understands football, saw the ball on the ground, went and made a great play.
Here's Davis dropping back, didn't have a handle on that ball. Luckily, it bounced right back into his hands. But here comes Telliard, just blows past the defender and brings Davis down. Telliard, the leading tackler for Riverside Poly this season.
He's got great instincts. You got to have instincts. If you're going to make that many tackles, it's not just talent. That's an instinct issue, too. Instincts take you to the ball. Talent allows you to make the play when you get there.
Well, Dennis Gregovich wants to talk this one over. His team looking at 3rd and 14 on their own 26.
Yeah, they're going to need something here. They opened the game with that reverse, some kind of a reverse or a screen. They're going to need some kind of a play to slow down that front, because now all of a sudden on this 4th series, the Riverside Poly front has kind of gotten going. You saw the big play by Ibarra, then that play on the blitz by Telliard. Now you're starting to see the front 7 of Riverside Poly assert itself. Tahquitz is going to need something to slow that group down.
So we'll see what Gregovich has up his sleeve.
Prayer,
With some prayers and some play calling, what did they do well in that opening drive? Like you said, they mixed in the reverse. They had a bubble screen. Yes.
Yeah, they did a nice job. They ran the little zone play on 2nd down and ran it for 5 yards, got a little movement. And I think that backed off the Poly defensive front a little bit, but they kind of got into the pass game exclusively there for a little while, and I think Poly's defensive front awoke.
So here comes Davis. He's just going to let it fly, flings it up. Number 6, Steele, comes back for it, and he hauls in that catch. And that's down past the Riverside Poly 30.
The quarterback might be down. Somebody's down. Might not. Hope it's not the quarterback. Hope it's not anybody.
Yeah, Tahquitz with a man down. It is not Davis, because Davis is signaling over to the Tahquitz sideline. Let's take a look at this replay. Davis, that pocket collapses in a hurry. He gets rid of it. And a nice play by Steele, Willie Mays style over the shoulder.
That's a great play by Davis. I mean, to stand in the pocket and take the big hit. He knew it was coming. He saw it the whole way. He took the hit and delivered the throw. That's great quarterback play by Davis there.
And like we said, he's still learning on the job. A great athlete, receiver by trade, but he was thrust into QB duty a couple of weeks ago when Keegan was injured against Beaumont. Gregovich said the last couple of years he's been talking to Davis about the quarterback position, trying to gauge his interest, but being such a great athlete, he could put him anywhere in the field and let Davis make plays. But there was a need once Keegan went down with an injury against Beaumont, and he's a quick study. He's doing very well out there.
That play right there is just courage. That's just being a man and standing in the pocket and staring down danger. You know you're going to get hit. You know it's going to hurt a little bit, but you stand in there and you make the throw anyway. That's just a courageous play by a young quarterback who hasn't played a lot of reps.
There's Rockmore, a linebacker, came out on the field. It looks like the big number 69 for Tahquitz High School. Travion Stewart, he was another guy that Gregovich said prior to the game was one of their team leaders, one of the guys they count on. So he's the younger brother of Michael Stewart, who was a fabulous receiver for Tahquitz. He had some inland area records, and I believe they still stand. I think it was career catches.
This Stewart's a big, strong kid, and he's played almost every single snap of this game so far. So you hope that he's okay. It's good to see him walking off under his own power, and you hope that he can get back in the game here pretty soon. The good news is, doesn't look like it's too serious. He's walking off on his own.
With so much of this game determined up front, Tahquitz will certainly want him back on the line.
If he can get back, he'll come back. That's a tough kid.
It's a playoff game. He's a senior. Tahquitz with the handoff down to about the 25.
That was a weird play. It looked like they might have snapped that ball before everybody was ready, because not everybody came off
including
the ball.
Myself.
Yeah, not everybody. I don't think you were the only one that was fooled.
I was watching Stewart walk off the field. I'm still watching him from afar. He's hobbling.
Davis is a good-looking kid, isn't he? Big, strong-looking kid.
He is. Gregovich is hoping there's a junior college out there that'll take a chance on him as a project and maybe keep him at quarterback.
I would if I was a junior college.
Davis with time, lets it fly, nothing doing.
Well, I don't like that call.
They're going to say pass interference, a late hit?
I don't like that call. Whatever it is, I don't like it. If it's pass interference, that ball was 5 feet over his head. It was uncatchable. If that's a late hit, it's just brutally bad. It's not a good call. They can't do that. You can't make that call.
It was 2nd and 7.
That's a bad call. I don't like it.
Referees will talk this one over.
Yeah, maybe they'll talk themselves out of it.
That rarely happens.
Yeah, it's a bad call. We'll see what they call, but it's not good.
The white hat having his own little meeting of the minds.
That's a bad
Pass
call.
interference
No, that's a bad call.
on the defense. So what you're saying is it was uncatchable. The ball was clearly over the guy's hands. It shouldn't have been pass interference.
Ball was uncatchable. It's not a good call. But you know what? Referees miss one every once in a while too. You know, coaches miss one, players miss one, referees miss one. He just missed that one, and he'll get the next one.
Well, Tahquitz catches a break here. They'll start around the 12-yard line. Davis keeping it himself. Gets past the 10, down to the 5.
That is a good physical run by him.
He's met by, guess who, Evan Telliard, and a host of Bears.
Telliard and Hirsch got over there, too. Hirsch was the outside linebacker on the opposite side and ran over and got in on the play. That's good football there, running over and getting involved.
It's a real who's who on that Riverside Poly defense with Hirsch and Evan Telliard. And we haven't even mentioned Ben Tualega yet. He's another star on that defensive side of the ball for Riverside Poly.
Looks like we're okay.
Looked like we had a Riverside Poly guy banged
he was
up.
down, but looks like he's up.
Looks like number 5 for Riverside Poly. That would be Angel Samuelu. So Tahquitz can still get a first down here. They're on the Poly 5. They've caught a break here, and they're looking for the tying score at 1:29 to go in the opening quarter. Davis back in the shotgun. Man in motion. And Poly will stand him up right at the line of scrimmage.
Kind of a play out of the Riverside Poly playbook there. The fly motion, fake the fly sweep, and hand the ball back on the counter play. But good job by the Riverside Poly linebackers making their reads and staying at home. Evan Telliard again, Hirsch again. Those guys are players.
So 3rd and 2 for Tahquitz. Still can get that first down if they can creep a little bit closer to that goal line. Here's Davis, drops back. Lets it go for the end zone. Incomplete pass.
Well, what do you do here now? You going to go for it? Got to go for it, right?
I think if you're Gregovich, you go for it. At least go for that first down, right?
It's like they're going to try to kick a field goal and get some points. That's a tough call at this point. I mean, you don't want to come away. It's a great drive. You don't want to come away with no points. But at the same time, you're probably not going to beat Riverside Poly with field goals. You're going to need 7s when you get down inside the red zone.
Eric Rodriguez, the kicker for Tahquitz. Or actually, you know what? He's the place kicker. The guy doing the field goal kicking duties is number 17, Michael Spur, and he's going to bang it through. And it's now a 14-10 ball game. So like you said, at least they have something to show for it after a good drive.
Great drive, great play calling, courageous drive by Davis. You know, he took the hit and delivered the great throw. That was a great run by him on the play, on the top side there on the little quarterback sweep play. Ran through a couple of tackles and made some extra yards. So that was really a Davis-centric drive. And he's keeping them in it, keeping them around.
Now, Coach Fazio, I consider you a scholar, a man who reads many binded books.
Very well read, yes.
I see on the Tahquitz sideline it says Going on a Bear Hunt. Did you ever read the Going on a Bear Hunt book? It's for kids.
I don't think I ever read Going on it, but I don't have kids yet. So.
You will then.
Yeah, I think probably I'll get to Going on a Bear Hunt, but not yet.
So the Tahquitz fans who made the trip here to Riverside have something to cheer about. There's the sign, Going on a Bear Hunt. I've read that a time or two to my kids at home. But, hey, give them credit. They've made a lot of signs. I see flags waving. I see a big THS in the stands. There's balloons.
It's a great school. Also has a great stadium. One of my favorite stadiums in all of Southern California.
It's tucked away inside the rock formations out there in Hemet. Short little pooch kitty here, and Riverside Poly has it, so they will start on their own 40. All right, we're approaching the end of the first quarter, 43 seconds to go. Let's go down to the sideline to Jenny Phillips. Jenny?
Thanks, guys. I got an update on Trayvon Stewart, who came out on the last drive. I spoke to the trainers, and they said that he has a slight sprain on the outside of his lower right leg. They haven't been able to diagnose yet if it's a ligament or a muscle, but they said it's just minor. He's just going through a little bit of pain right now. They're icing him, and they are hoping that he can get back into the game. He does start on both sides of the ball for Tahquitz. Back up to you guys.
That's a great point, Jenny. And, Coach, you've said over and over, it's the line, and Trayvon Stewart is a huge cog of what they do for Tahquitz. Yikes. Here comes Devontre Hale. He's going to cut back inside, bounces to the outside. About 6 different Tahquitz Titans needs to wrangle up Devontre Hale as he crosses the 40-yard line of Tahquitz.
Well, I think you saw it right there. You saw that as Hale's jersey's being ripped off. You saw the movement that Riverside Poly's able to get without Stewart in there.
So we'll see if Riverside Poly can continue to push around that Titans front line here. 22 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Drakeslin, play action, feeling the pressure. Drakeslin rolling to his right, pushed out of bounds, and that pass is incomplete. So we were just talking about that Tahquitz line, and they were able to break through and get Drakeslin on the run.
Yeah, good. I think that's a good call by Coach Brown and the Poly staff. You know, they've been hitting them with the run. They come to the play action, and great credit Tahquitz for staying at home and not falling for it.
So it's 2nd and 10 on the Titans 38. Josh Evans to Drakeslин's left, Keely Ross to his right. They give it to Hale.
Well, that's almost a trample play there. They had the fullback and both the pulling guard and tackle from the backside all at the point of attack. That looked like the Don Markham Bloomington Bruins there.
I was going to say, I don't see a lot of fullbacks.
Yeah, that was a trample play.
Use that often. So that's the end of the first quarter, and Riverside Poly holds a 4-point lead, 14-10. And Tahquitz has come out and shown that they're not going to roll over. Riverside Poly, one of the higher seeded teams in the Inland Division. And Tahquitz, the third place team out of the Mountain Pass, and we've talked about this before, because Citrus Hill has had so much success out of the Mountain Pass League, the entire league got bumped up to the Inland Division. And poor Tahquitz with 36 kids, they are also in the Inland Division because of Citrus Hill, but they're holding their own so far against Riverside Poly.
They've done a really good job. First of all, Coach Gregovich has done a great job getting the offense, running plays that they can run. The quarterback play has been excellent so far for Tahquitz, and you know they got a big stop defensively when they need one. Looks like Stewart's coming back on the field now, so hopefully that's a shot in the arm. It'll be interesting to see how they can hold up with their lack of depth versus Riverside Poly, like you said, kind of trots out here with a small army, a phalanx, as it were.
I see. I told you were a scholar, a well-read man. Start of the second quarter here. Riverside Poly on the Tahquitz 33-yard line. Bad snap here. Number 5 for Tahquitz all over that one to bring down Drakesland. Anthony Morachis.
You know, he had the snap, weren't able to handle the snap, but Tahquitz hit the blitz right too. Tahquitz had some kind of a tip on where that ball was going because they were blitzing both linebackers right at the point of attack. I don't think there would have been much there even if they get the snap.
And that was third down. So Tahquitz holds Riverside Poly on this drive.
Poly going to a little Batman formation, huh? Maybe a swinging gate.
They are. And the backup quarterback is
He's a really good player.
He's a wildcat, kind of an athletic guy. We'll see what Riverside Poly does here. And he takes off on the run. That's number 15 for Riverside Poly, Alex
he made
Lewis.
a miss.
And
he's not going to get it.
He's not going to be.
No.
He's going to be short of that first down. They're on Tahquitz's side of the field. You okay with that call?
Oh, absolutely. That's a fabulous call. I mean, he's one more missed tackle away from having a first down. You know, if you punt it and it goes down inside the end zone, they're going to get it to 20, so you really only gave up 10 yards. No, I'm 100%. I think that's a really good call by Coach Brown. And, again, credit the Tahquitz guys for staying at home, making a play.
So Tahquitz will start on their own 30. Davis still in there, looking for the
I don't think Davis is coming out of there unless somebody pries him out of there.
I'm curious to see if Gregovich may want to mix it up and split him out wide or do something to kind of throw Riverside Poly off.
The way he's playing at quarterback right now, he can quarterback touches the ball on every down.
Tim Neely and Trayvon Stewart.
They've got to keep running the football. They've got to continue to run the ball, even if it's only for 2 or 3 yards at a time.
Because you have to run it to keep them honest on the pass, right?
Absolutely. They have to maintain balance if they're going to continue to move the football.
Neely in the backfield with Davis once again.
Offsides.
Flag on the field. And it's a false start against Tahquitz.
That's what you see sometimes with the spread offenses. You know, the quarterback's ready for the snap, and you know the other guys aren't ready yet, or the quarterback's not ready, and they're kind of doing the little fake snap, and the receivers are ready to move. Every once in a while, you're just going to get those 5-yard penalties, and you just got to be able to make them up.
Xavion Steele's had a big game so far for Tahquitz. He's lined up in the slot. Neely also out wide. 5 wide for Tahquitz. He finds Holloway.
Stepped out of bounds, got a couple yards though.
Got a couple yards before he's pushed out by Riverside Poly. There's Gregovich with the visor. You can see him on the sideline. His favorite coach, Steve Spurrier, hence the visor. And he comes from a coaching family as well. His dad was a coach, I believe, in the San Diego area. Kind of like you, coaching family.
This is a big play. You know, we'll see what they have for 3rd and 9. If it's a screen situation for them or just straight drop back pass. Poly just a 3-man rush.
Kind of a bubble screen without the screen, right?
Well, Poly was ready for that.
Yeah.
Tahquitz went to the under screen and Poly went to the 3-man rush. So it wasn't, I think Tahquitz was hoping to catch him in a blitz situation and dump that screen over their head. So Pauley was kind of ready for the screen on that 3rd and long in their own territory. It's a screen down. It's a screen situation.
Davis was going for Tim Neely, one of the playmakers for Tahquitz, trying to find opportunity to just get the ball in Neely's hands. So Tahquitz punting. Akili Ross is back. We'll see if he even gets to touch this ball. Try to keep it away from Ross, but still get it downfield. This one better towards the sideline.
That's the punt.
There it is.
That's the punt.
Inside the 30.
That's the ticket. Good play.
So Riverside Poly will start about the 27-yard line.
Eric Rodriguez. Good punt, Eric. That's right where you wanted to kick it.
Nice punt. Keely Ross didn't have an opportunity to field that off the bounce.
Got the roll, got it out there, let your coverage get down there and cover it. That's the one they wanted. Hopefully they can get that. They're going to have to get that all night when they punt. That's the one they need.
This past week, Akili Ross officially named an Army All-American. And here's some of his stats, Coach. Nearly 700 yards receiving, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, which includes a pick 6, and 2 kick return touchdowns.
Yeah.
He does it all for Riverside Poly.
Yeah, he does.
Drake Slint to, well, guess who? Akili Ross. They'll get a couple of yards there. Now, if you look at the Army All-American Bowl, it's a real who's who. If you go to the NFL or even some of the biggest stars at the college level right now, you can look down at their resume and say, hey, they also played in the Army All-American Bowl. So Akili Ross joins a very prestigious list of guys, the top high school seniors, to have played in this game. And he's on the trajectory of doing big things.
Yeah, I think anybody that watches him, you can see why. I mean, he looks like that guy.
Devontre Hale, he'll be close to a first down there. Still working on that jersey. It's all kind of ripped up and torn out. He's kind of a mess down there. I'm sure John Madden would love that kind of guy.
Hey, keep
just
running.
Runs hard and
keep running. No, they may have to get him a new jersey at some point because that's beyond the seams now. That's going to keep ripping every time they tackle him.
Would you call that the pistol with Drakeslins in? Or?
That's pistol, yep.
And here comes Devontre Hale.
Oh!
He's going to bounce this outside a forearm here. And he'll take this down to about the 35 of Tahquitz.
Yeah, it's a challenge. If he gets out in the open field, it's really hard. I mean, that's a really hard situation if you're a defensive back and you get this guy in the open field. A little trap play. He hits it up. They had a little chance with the linebacker to maybe get a hand on him, and they weren't able to, and now he's in the open field.
I've seen Devontre Hale up close and personal a couple times, and besides just being fast, what really struck me is he's so physical.
Yeah,
a physical really running back. Little bootleg by Drakeslin. Hooks up, looking for Zamudio.
He's got to turn his hands the other way. Turned his hands the wrong way on that catch. Ball above your waist, you want to always have your thumbs in as opposed to, turning your hands over like the ball was below his waist. That's where you would do that kind of a catch. So needs to turn his hands over. The throw was good enough. He's got to make that play.
2nd and 10 from the Tahquitz 35. Drakeslin, the pitch to Devontre Hale. He's going to cut back inside. He never shies away from the tackles, the physicality of going inside.
No, I think he likes that stuff. I don't think he's shying away. I don't think is in his vocabulary. I think that's what he's looking for. You don't ever see him run out of bounds either. If they're going to get him out of bounds, they have to physically take him out of bounds. He doesn't run out there on his own.
1st and 10 from the 21. Poly leading Tahquitz 14-10. 8:13 to go here in the second quarter, and the Bears are driving. Devontre Hale takes the carry. 10, inside the 10, down to about the 7-yard line. Just keep feeding Devontre Hale.
Riverside Poly's found something. I think they've got an extra offensive lineman in the game right now, lined up as a tight end. And so they found something here with the extra lineman, and Tahquitz is yet to be able to make the adjustment to get the extra guy in the box. Poly's outnumbering them right now. And then you always outnumber guys when you have Devontre Hale. Because he's
It's
plus
not a
3.
one-on-one
Yeah,
situation. It's a 2 or 3 on 1.
for sure.
Drakeland's going to let this fly to Akili Ross. He's going to haul that in. Touchdown, Riverside Poly.
Again, that's when Drakeland's at his best. Ball out of his hand quick, make the pre-snap read, catch a snap, and get the ball out of his hand. That's when he's at his best.
Here comes the replay. Drakeland, as you said, quickly gets that ball out. Akili Ross plucks that ball right out of the air. Quick little slant play, and it's now 20-10 with the extra point coming up for Riverside Poly.
Coach Gregovich will grab those DBs when they get to the sideline and talk to them. They're too deep. When you're that close to the goal line, you can't backpedal 6 yards in the end zone and let them catch the ball in front of you. You want to make them throw the ball over your head into the end zone in that kind of a situation. It's too easy to let them throw it in front of you. Make them throw it over your head. He'll get him on the sideline, I'm sure.
Receiving touchdown number 10 on the season for Akili Ross. It's now 21-10 Riverside Poly. Every drive is crucial, but this could really be a key drive for Tahquitz because, as we mentioned, you can't fall behind Riverside Poly and expect to play catch-up for the rest of the game with all this firepower.
Well, I think you're getting into the time when you're starting to see hands on hips on the Tahquitz sideline. You're starting to see them a little slower on and off the field. I think they're getting a little bit tired here at the end of the half, and so they've got to try to power through this and try to keep this, 21-10 or something. They don't want this to be 35-10 at halftime. If they can keep it in the game, keep themselves around, have a chance.
Here's the kickoff.
He's going to have a chance to return this.
They'll bring it out.
Good cover by the Bears, though.
And Riverside Poly sniffs it out, and they're going to stop Tahquitz around the 16. Akili Ross pulling double duty. When you have a team with so many great players, you would think this guy plays offense, this guy plays defense. Akili Ross does it all. He goes both ways for Riverside Poly and rarely takes a snap off.
You only get a Akili Ross for so many snaps, so you want to use him. You don't get him for another year if you don't use him up. So you want to use a guy like that as much as you possibly can when you're fortunate enough to get one.
I love the spread, 5 wide. Davis feeling the pressure, rolls out. He's got time, but Karan Lowe's closing the gap.
Boy,
Davis
I like this quarterback.
Finally pushed out of bounds.
I mean, you talk about a quarterback that hasn't played a lot of quarterback, that's able to make that kind of a calm play, sit in the pocket, go through his progression, nothing's good, roll to his right, buy time, and then scramble for a 6-7 yard gain. Yikes. This Tahquitz is a pretty good football team.
You mentioned about
they lose 6 games? There's 6 guys beat these guys?
They
Yikes.
played a lot of close games this season.
Yeah, holy smoke. A pretty good team.
Mentioned the hands on the hips. They've only got 36 guys total on their team. Davis feeling the pressure, rolls out. He's going to be near the first down marker.
Is that Ross?
Keely Ross.
Oh, my. That's a pretty good play.
The man on the spot. It's going to be pretty close to the first down marker.
At the risk of repeating myself, what a great play by Davis. A bad snap, had trouble handling it, didn't freak out, bought time, and then ran for the first down. I mean, that's a great play. Obviously, awesome open field tackle there by Akili Ross. And open field tackling is really the difference in high school football. If you can tackle in the open field, you got a chance to play really good defense.
Davis back in the shotgun. Once again, he's living his life on the run.
Looks like there's going to be a downfield holding. That's in the spot for downfield holding. This could be, they could be, have another first down potentially.
See what the white hat has to say.
By the way, getting back to Davis, if there's any junior college coaches watching this, you got to want that kid. I mean, there's something that kid can do, no doubt about it.
Not only is he mobile, but Gregovich says he's got a big arm, big strong arm.
Yeah, there's something he can do. It's going to be a first down, defensive holding or illegal contact penalty.
So they'll be moving the ball. It is against Riverside Poly.
It looked like defensive holding. I mean, there's not just much else that could be when the flag's thrown down the field on that play. Coach Brown doesn't like it.
I think Dennis Brown saying, what was that? So Tahquitz goes to work on their own 37. 1st and 10.
A little stack from the receivers down here.
Yeah, I see
trying to
that.
confuse the man-to-man coverage.
Here on the near side to us. Maybe some miscommunication there. Davis with a little pump fake.
They didn't fool you on that one, though.
No, absolutely.
But I think, again, I think that ball was snapped before they were ready to snap it, because the center snapped it and hardly anybody else moved. And they still got 3 yards, so what the heck?
Well, best case scenario, time's winding down here in the second quarter, and Tahquitz just eats a lot of that time off the clock, and maybe they got some points to show for it at the end of this drive.
The biggest thing for them is they want Riverside Poly to have no time left if and when they get the ball back. And they want as little time as possible for Riverside Poly.
2nd down and 7 from the 40. Davis eludes what looked to be a sure sack. And Davis escapes and also picks up a couple yards.
Well, he missed the read on the counter read. That's a little counter read play where he's supposed to read the backside end or the backside linebacker and then either give it or pull it. He made the wrong read. He pulled it right into a guy taking him, and he just made the guy miss. So I guess you can miss the read if you
and still make something
happen.
happen.
You can run through the guy. Big play here. This is a big time. They're going to call this a good time for the timeout by Coach Gregovich. No better time. If they could convert this, they keep the drive going, keep Poly off the field.
6:06 left here in the second quarter. I'm Pep Fernandez, joined by the head coach of Ramona, Vinny Fazio, Ginny Phillips, patrolling the sidelines somewhere.
This is a time, when you look to Telliard, you look to Hirsch, you look to Achille Ross to make a play if you're Riverside Poly. You want those guys. Those are your big guns. You want them to step up, make this play on 3rd down and 6, 3rd down and 5, get the ball back to your offense. If Poly can get the ball in at, before the half, get a 28-10 lead, I think they'll feel better than at 21-10, where really right now, Tahquitz is still in this game. I mean, they, as many plays as Poly's made, Tahquitz is still in this football game.
I would assume the game plan going in for Tahquitz is, hey guys, let's keep it close enough by the half to head out into the third quarter and still feel like we're still within striking range. Let's not let Poly get too far in front of us here.
You want to count it. You really set time limits for yourself. The first 6 minutes, let's be in the game at the 6-minute mark. Then let's be in the game at the quarter. Then let's be in the game halfway through the second quarter. And you just go in 6-minute stretches and see how many you can get to. And if they can get, they're in the game right now at the 6-minute mark of the second quarter. So now they try to get to the half.
Stacking a couple receivers here. You like that move?
Hey, we'll see. See how much we like it.
It's big down, 3rd and 6.
They're going to go
pump fake.
And go.
Davis lets it fly. Going downfield, he's got a man. No flags on the play. He was going for Xavier Steele.
They got the Steele brothers making a lot of plays.
Xavier and Xavion.
I assume they're brothers. Xavier
they
and
must
Xavion.
be twins. They're both sophomores.
So, they're making some plays. Interesting call. Try to take a shot there and get it all at once. But, you got to take what the defense gives you. And if they're coming up and playing the short throw, then you've got to be able to throw it down the field and try to back them off. Got to watch out for Hirsch here. He's a punt blocker. He's blocked a few.
Tahquitz gets it off. Achille Ross might have a shot. No, he's going to let it bounce. Not
Another
bad.
Good punt.
Riverside Poly will start on their own 26.
Another good punt by my man Eric Rodriguez. That's
You're a fan.
2 in a row for him, man. That's a bit. These are big plays in this game. I mean, you lose those punts, but they're big plays.
Well, they keep the ball out of Achille Ross's hands. Let's go down to the sideline to Ginny Phillips. Ginny?
Thanks, Pep. You guys mentioned Achille Ross and how he is actually been playing in that Army All-American Bowl later on in January. Well, earlier this week, the Army All-American guys came over to Poly High School and they did a huge ceremony where they presented him with a jersey. Coach Brown told me it was a really big deal for the school and the community and a great inspiration for some of the younger players as well. They really look up to him. Now, not only is Achille going to be going to Texas, Coach Brown will be going with him as well. They presented him with the plaque and he's going to be coaching down in Texas for that game. Back up to you guys.
All right, thanks you, Ginny, very much. That was a carry by number 22 for Riverside Poly, Matt Hubert. Yeah, we talked about this Army All-American Bowl. It's January 3rd, San Antonio, the Alamo Dome on national television, NBC.
Poly going a little hurry up here, huh?
Yeah, a couple plays, no huddle here, huh? Just get up and go. They got about 5.5 minutes to play here in the second quarter. We got a man down for Tahquitz. But going back to that Army All-American Bowl, I mean, it's a big deal. Coach Brown gets a trip to San Antonio out of it, which is also very nice. There's been a couple guys from the Inland Empire in recent years, at least, to make this. A guy named Sua Cravens, who's now doing big things in the secondary for
Who's
USC.
that guy?
Yeah, never heard of him. Kylie Fitz, who played for UCLA, now going to Utah, as well as Vianney Talamaivao, who's also at USC this season. He played at Centennial, so every year there's at least one guy from the Inland Empire area to make it. This year, fortunately, it was from right here in Riverside, Akili Ross.
And next year, I think you have Lokini Toilola from Carter is either in the Army or the Under Armour game. He's in one of those two bowl games. So
put him in all of them.
Yeah, put him in wherever he wants to go. I don't think anybody's telling him no. I think if he shows up, they're going to let him play.
Give that guy a jersey.
I don't think anybody's telling him no.
Toiloa is a star linebacker at Carter High School in Rialto, a place that the great Vinny Fazio used to coach at.
Yeah, that includes a lot of places.
There's Devontre Hale. Can we get him a new jersey?
Get that
That's
man
all
a
I'm
jersey.
asking.
Use one of those earrings and pay for a new one.
Buy a couple jerseys.
He's blinged out, man.
Well, that's your guy for Tahquitz.
Yeah, you don't want him
52.
to be hurt. No, that's a disaster if he's hurt. They got to get him.
Well, at least he's walking off under his own power, Rockmore. So Rockmore injured. Then we had Stewart, a little banged up, but he didn't check back into the game. There's Stewart right there, in fact. So a couple of the key guys that Gregovich talked about prior to the game and said, hey, we need this guy, and this guy to have huge games if we're going to have any kind of shot at hanging with Riverside Poly. And Rockmore was one of those guys.
This is a big play right now. I mean, you got 3rd and 7. You know, you got him in a third down situation. Devontre Hale's on the sideline. So this is a down where you got to try to, maybe get a stop. It hurts to not have Rockmore on the field.
Think this is a situation where they're giving Hale a breather?
Yeah, they're offsides, yeah. I thought they were going to call that.
Riverside Poly.
Yeah, they're offsides. Left tackle got into his kick set a little too early. Yeah, they're probably just giving Hale a break. What has he got? Got over 100 yards already, so.
He's had a lot of big runs already. A lot of that offense goes through Hale, which makes life a lot easier in the passing game when you're always keeping your eyes on number 9.
Absolutely. Balance is the key.
Number 22 for Riverside Poly, Matt Hubert, lined up in the backfield. Drakeslin drops
Good
back.
pass,
He's got time. Looking for Akili Ross just a little bit wide here. That was 3rd and 11. So don't look now, but Tahquitz is going to get the ball back with under 5 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Plenty of time, though, to maybe put together another scoring drive.
Really good pass protection there by Riverside Poly. I think Drakeslin had more time than he thought he had. I think he thought he was a little more pressured than he was. He had time to hold on to that ball and take his time and make a throw there. He rushed that, and he didn't need to.
Dejon Holloway back for Tahquitz. Around his own 35.
Block. Oh.
Tahquitz somehow did not block that ball. They had guys flying in there. Holloway will call for a fair catch just inside that 30-yard line. The Titans got inside there. I don't know how that punt got off, but it did. Some whistles on the field. I don't necessarily see a yellow flag.
I see something on the sideline. I think there's one on the sideline.
On the far side, it looks
like.
Far
sideline. It's a sideline warning. Looked like one of the coaches was out on the field there for Tahquitz.
The referee talking to one of the assistant coaches. It looks like Damon Dustin, who was the head coach at Ramona. Yeah, before you took over.
Yeah, that's my guy, man. He's a special teams guy too, Coach Dustin. And I imagine had something to do with the scheme they had to block that punt. Probably was frustrated that they didn't get it because they had a good chance at it.
Somehow that ball slipped through those defenders.
You don't want to get a sideline warning penalty if you're an assistant coach. Coming from a guy that's worked for Alex Pearson, Mike Maynard.
Do you get a slap on the wrist or a little bit more?
You can get in some trouble getting penalties when you're an assistant coach.
1st and 10 for Tahquitz on their own 30-yard line.
Uh-oh.
Number 6, Xavion Steele has it, but Riverside Poly all over that. Evan Telliard, the ball hawk. Let's see where they put the forward progress at.
Yeah, that was not clean from the start. It was a bobble on the exchange. If you watch, they bobble the exchange here. And so then he has to bow it way around and just never had a chance.
Lowe, Telliard, Samuelu, Hirsch. I think the entire Riverside Poly defense got to that ball by the end.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at 2nd and 20 from the 20 for Tahquitz.
Yeah, it's not the way you want to start.
Davis.
Is that Telliard
like
again?
Off the helmet of Steele.
Yeah, that's Telliard again.
So now 3rd and 20 for Tahquitz.
That's a great play by Telliard. Just a great read. Sniffed the screen out from the beginning. They have not been able to get that screen going.
So Tahquitz will need to get to about the 40-yard line to get that 1st down. Davis rolls to his right. He's going to hold on to it.
Oh!
Finally goes out just
That's
beyond
Hirsch.
the 30. No
Yeah,
late hit, though. No flag, looks like, on the field.
No, I don't think it was. Davis, the one thing he's got to learn in his development on that play, he's got to either go faster and go out of bounds, or he's got to get down. You can't go with the shoulder into the outside linebacker like that.
Yeah, Davis hunched over, finally
That's
goes to the ground.
That's the RG3 deal, When you're a quarterback, you've got to the 1 or 2 yards on that play.
It's not worth it, right?
It's not worth it. The potential to get dinged when you're that important to your team.
It's not as though the 1st down marker was just another yard or 2 or 3 in front of him.
Well, and if you're going to go, then you need to put your shoulder down, and he was kind of halfway between, and I think he might have been a little surprised at how fast Hirsch closed the gap. Hirsch closes the gap really fast, which surprised me in our game too. He comes out of nowhere, but he's got to either get out of bounds or he's got to get down there. But it looks like he's jogging off, so hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, Davis heading over to the Tahquitz sideline. The Titans now 4th down.
Here comes my man again. Come on, Eric.
And he's rocking the, looks like electric orange cleats.
Kickers love those electric cleats.
Hey, look good, feel good, play good. Keely Ross back to field this around his 32.
They're looking at a fake here potentially. Here it is.
Called it. Here comes the pass. Oh, he had number 14, Jose Cerna. I mean, it couldn't have developed any better, right? I mean, Cerna was open.
Coach, we ran almost that exact same fake against Jurupa Valley from our own end, just like this. Almost that exact same fake with the shift to get the guy open on the backside and then throw it to the backside, and we threw it and didn't catch it just like that. I mean, literally almost the exact same play. It's so frustrating because that play is there to be made.
It worked so well.
You get exactly the look you want.
Your guy Eric put the ball where it needed to be.
The punter made a throw there, and you just have to be able to make those kind of plays if you're going to stay in this game.
So now Riverside Poly goes to work on the Tahquitz 32. Hubert with the carry.
Big hole there.
And Devontre Hale still sitting out.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he's not in on this series. You might want to get Crack Scripts reporter Jenny Phillips on that. I'm a little surprised he's not in on this series.
Looking for number 9 down on the field. Maybe he's changing into a New Jersey.
Well, we saw him with the earrings earlier, so he was still out there. But I would have expected him to play this series.
Play action. Drakeslin looks applied to Josh Evans.
He got an interception. That's a great play.
By number 6, Xavion Steele.
Boy, the Steele brothers are just stone cold killers.
And sophomores.
Oh, those guys sophomores. Wow. Well, Coach Gregovich isn't coming back. Somebody's going to want that Tahquitz job. You get to coach those steals.
They've got some great kids coming up at Tahquitz, and they've had some success in the past. The playoffs 3 years in a row for Tahquitz. Drakeslin going for the end zone to Josh Evans.
That's just great position by the corner. You know, I mean, it's a little underthrown, but, you know, Evans is a guy that will come back and make that catch. That's just a great job with positioning by the defensive back.
And Tahquitz now with 2.5 minutes still to play with here. 21-10. Riverside Poly on top, but Tahquitz has time
Okay,
to try to.
you want to get out of this possession.
And there's Neely. We haven't called his name too much, but Neely with a great play here to bring it out to close to the 35.
Very good play.
We talked about Neely's one of those guys that have been with the Tahquitz program for a couple years now, one of their playmakers, but we haven't called his name too much tonight.
They're off sides. Yeah, I tried to go fast.
Tahquitz trying to play hurry up. And a false start against the Titans. Wow, a 21-13 game or a 21-17 game would sound.
I mean, I'm gonna be
better.
honest with you. If I'm Coach Gregovich, I'm happy with 21-10. You don't want it to be 28-10. You know, you do not want to give Poly the ball back with a chance to score here. But somebody, you know, hopefully Devontre Hale's okay. Find out what's going on with him because he's a big difference.
There's Davis on the run once again. Samuelu wraps him up.
What's the flag?
And here comes the flag.
Is this a face mask?
Came in right around that 25.
It's an interesting call here. Yeah, I
Face
gave him a
mask,
first.
yep. Going against Riverside Poly.
It's an automatic first down. That's a huge play in this game because you got him. I mean, these are the frustrating plays when you're a coach.
Samuelu there on the play.
Well, I didn't see a face mask, but it might have been there. I did not see it.
Maybe it was underneath with that right hand that was blocked from our.
Well, he's got a
vantage
better angle than I do. I mean, the referee's on top of it, but I didn't. From this angle, I didn't see a face mask.
So Tahquitz from the 40-yard line. Davis to Neely.
Oh, we got to have that.
Looked like he had it,
Yeah, you
but he
gotta have
dropped it.
Got to have it. It's going to be a first down. Got to keep the drive going. That's a play you have to make. You know, and really, if you think about it, Tahquitz has left a couple of plays out there that if they make, this could potentially be a tie game or a one possession game. They really haven't played perfect, and yet they're right there in the game.
Neely tying his shoe. He's ready to go. Davis takes the snap out of the gun. He was looking for steal, nothing doing.
Good pass drops by the linebackers from Riverside Poly. All three of them, Hirsch and Telliard.
And Samuelu.
And Samuelu, all three did a good job walling off those inside routes. Those are good players. I mean, those three linebackers are really good players.
Riverside Poly 10-0 during the regular season, including that huge win against the Rancho Verde High School. The Inland Valley League champions taking on the third-place team from the Mountain Pass. There's Neely.
This is a really good call.
Neely gets to the outside, trying to stay on his feet.
Coach Gregovich, great call.
Making a concentrated effort to get Neely the ball, it seems like, on this drive.
Well, and it doesn't even have to be run plays. That's like an extended run play. You dump, that's almost like a sweep play. You still get the ball to your running back.
So 1:20 and the clock is ticking on Tahquitz. First down on the 47.
He's
Davis
open down the
with time.
field. Oh, he didn't see him.
Little shovel pass.
He had a wide open guy. Can't see who it is. Looks like it might be
One of the Steele brothers, right?
It might be Xavier Steele, but he was wide open down the field.
Davis kind of had his.
It's like Riverside Poly's going to take a timeout, and this timeout may be to get that under control because they had a wide open receiver down the field. If he'd have seen him, this game would be 21-17 right now.
Davis was going to his left, and had his body contorted, that would be a difficult throw, but you're right, he did have a receiver open downfield.
Yeah, they blew a coverage there. I don't know what – I didn't see the coverage if they were trying to play like a quarters 4 deep or if it was man-to-man. But they blew whatever it was. They weren't all playing the same thing. One guy was playing one thing, one guy was playing something else. There was a guy down the field. They just busted. But, good pressure, and the pressure was able to keep Davis from seeing it. And like you said, he was sprinting out to his left, so that makes that a hard play.
And then Davis ended up doing a Brett Favre-type little shovel pass at the last minute to get rid of that ball.
Well, that's another one you generally want to discourage. you want to discourage that.
Just hold on and go down with the ship,
yeah,
right?
You want to just go down there. You don't want to do that. That's bad way more often than it's good. It's like a little man coverage out of Riverside Poly here.
2nd and 14 from the 43.
The guy's going to want too much pressure.
All over him. Well, they say he has a man.
This is grounding. Yeah.
Dennis Brown
there's
saying,
no doubt about it. There's
looking for that flag for intentional grounding.
Nope, there's nobody out there. There's no doubt about it. Actually, you never want to take a sack, but he's actually better off in that situation taking the sack because the clock, now Riverside Poly doesn't have to use a timeout.
Yeah, if he goes down with the sack.
If he goes down,
the
you
clock
force him to use
keeps
a
going.
timeout.
59 seconds to go
So
here.
Riverside Poly is going to get the ball back, assuming that Tahquitz can't convert, and I don't know what coach has for 2nd or 3rd and 30, 3rd and 30 or whatever it is, but Riverside Poly is going to get the ball back with a little bit of time and a timeout. At a minimum of 1. This is a run play, right? I mean, come on, Coach. Come on, Coach Pep.
Mix it up,
Want to take some action?
Flea flicker. 59 seconds to go. It's 3rd and a little bit long, 32.
I'll bet you $1 this is a run play.
There you go. It's Neely.
He's got some space, too.
Keep this one in bounds. Certainly not a first down, so that unless there was a timeout called. Looks like
another
Riverside
up
Poly
high.
did call a timeout.
Another up high tackle there. Lucky that they didn't get any kind of a face mask or helmet penalty there. Yeah, Poly's going to get the ball back, after the punt. They're going to get the ball back with, 40 seconds left and a timeout.
That's an eternity when you have guys like Akili Ross and
Well, it'll be
Chandler
interesting to see if Devontre Hale comes out on this possession. He hasn't been in the game in 2 drives, and so that's got to be a little bit concerning.
Yeah, I've been looking for number 9 on the Riverside Poly sideline, and I have yet to find him. Unless he headed into the locker room a little bit early.
Yeah, maybe he went in early. I don't see him down there. I'm sure he is down there, but I don't see. Certainly, I can't find him. But this is an interesting possession here. Eric Rodriguez got to do a good job again of keeping the ball away from Yakili. The Tahquitz, let's talk about the Tahquitz defense. 2 or 3 times has bailed out bad special teams plays. They had the couple bad punts and they got some stops. They had the failed to convert on the fake punt and they got a stop. So the Tahquitz defense has really played. There he is.
Yeah. Our great staff here with GTV finding Devontre Hale on the sideline. Akili Ross now with an opportunity to actually field the punt.
He fumbled.
Fumble on the play. Looks like Tahquitz trying to wrestle that ball away from Ross. Let's see what the referees say on the field.
Tahquitz's ball.
And Tahquitz will have it with 41 seconds to go.
Huge special teams play.
And they're already within field goal range.
Looked like Smith, number 23, was the guy that stripped the ball. First guy down in coverage and stripped the ball.
Here's the replay. Akili Ross not with a lot of opportunities to actually field a punt. He gets the chance here.
There's Smith right there. First guy there, just rips the ball right out.
And look who recovers, number 14, Jose Serna, the guy who dropped the pass.
Good for him. Good for him.
When they were going forward on 4th down.
You keep hustling, and sometimes the plays come to you.
So it's 1st and 10, 39 seconds to go. Davis
Touchdown.
has number 2, Holloway. And Holloway hauls it in for a Tahquitz touchdown.
We got a ball game now.
The Tahquitz fans on their side going nuts.
They should be.
Break out the flags. Well, whatever Coach Gregovich dreamed up this week during practice, so far so good. I mean, they couldn't ask for a better start to at least be within a couple points of Riverside Poly. at the half.
I don't think there's very many people out there that said this would be a 4-point game. Now, it's still not halftime yet. They still got to defend a little bit, but to be right there to have a chance.
Here comes the extra point. It was low, but it's through. And it's now 21-17 Riverside Poly. 35 seconds to go. So through a chain of events here, Tahquitz gets the ball back through a fumble. And your guy Davis with a nice throw to Holloway.
Boy, has Davis had a half or what? You're talking about having a great half. He has had a great half. He's not only made big plays, but he's made the small plays to keep his team in the game. He's made the regular plays to keep his team in the game. And right now, he's the guy. I mean, he's the reason they're in this thing.
If you go back a couple games, he entered the Tahquitz starting lineup as the quarterback against that in the Beaumont game. They lost 10-zip, but that following week, they beat Hemet 52-41. That's a team that you saw.
Hemet's a good team too, really good team. They do a lot of good. They were 6-4. They're another good team out of that league.
So with Davis at the helm, they beat Hemet 52-41. They should have beat San Jacinto. By all accounts, they let San Jacinto off the hook. 23-20 as that kick goes out of bounds around the 27-yard line.
I'm not sure, and I don't have a great angle, but the return man needs to let that ball go out of bounds. That ball's going to look like that ball's going to bounce out of bounds. They're going to have it at the 35 or make them re-kick it. Instead, he knocks it out of bounds and cost them about 9 yards of field position.
So now 35 seconds to go. Riverside Poly will go back to work around the 26-yard line.
I got to wonder what Poly's going to do here, if they're going to take some shots. And again, Devontre Hale is not on the field.
Hubert running back onto the field.
Looks like they're going to victory. They're going to go to halftime.
Yeah, they'll kneel this out, a.k.a. victory formation. But I don't know if 21-17 is a moral victory for Riverside Poly. It certainly is for Tahquitz. The Titans down by just 4 at the half.
I think if you'd have told Tahquitz it was going to be 21-17 at halftime, they'd have been doing backflips. I mean, that's just a very well played half, a very well coached half by Tahquitz in all 3 phases. They've made plays on offense, they've made plays on defense, they've made plays in the kick game. Just an outstanding job by their staff.
We mentioned before the broadcast that this would be Dennis Gregovich's final season at Tahquitz. He told his team a couple weeks ago that this would be it regardless of what happens, but he's certainly not ready to see his season end yet. And Tahquitz is down 21-17 at the half. We go down to head coach Dennis Gregovich with Jenny Phillips. Jenny?
Thanks, guys. Coach, what a momentum swing there at the end. How does that change things for you?
I think it gives us an opportunity to put them on their heels, and I think we've got them guessing a little bit, which definitely plays into our favor, so that's a good thing.
Are there any adjustments that you're going to be making?
No, if we can just keep slowing them down on defense and making plays, we're close on a couple deep balls. If we can get a couple of those, I think we're definitely going to put us in the driver's seat, so that'd be good.
Now, you told me before this game that your team knows that they are the underdogs in this one. How has their confidence changed now heading into halftime?
It's funny because we were just talking about that. At some point, underdog starts to believe they can play, and I think we're starting to believe we can play a little bit, which is good.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Guys, back up to you.
Thank you, Jenny. That's great. At some point, the underdog starts believing they belong here, and they start hanging with the top dog, Riverside Poly in this case. I mean, what do you think, Coach? What went so well for Tahquitz in the first half to keep this 21-17?
Well, my grandpa played basketball at Chaffey College, and at that time, his freshman year, they scrimmaged UCLA's freshman team. And UCLA's freshman team, the game with Chaffey College, and at halftime of the game, it was in the old men's gym at UCLA. Halftime of the game, UCLA's freshman team's up by like 2 points. And my grandpa said all the guys in the Chaffey locker room are fired up. We're right there, guys. We can do it. And the best player for Chaffey came in and goes, they're going to kick our butts. So, and they did. UCLA did. So, it's still a long game. There's a lot of time to play. Riverside Poly's going to go in and get themselves settled. But you couldn't be happier if you're Tahquitz with where you are right now. They've played extraordinarily well in all 3 phases. They've coached a fabulous game. Credit to their staff. And And now the other thing that's interesting is, where has Devontre Hale been for the last 3 possessions? Is he okay? And what's going on there?
That's a big question mark for Riverside Poly here. Devontre Hale, the workhorse for that Riverside Poly offense. And like
well,
you
the game
said,
changes. If Devontre Hale's not Riverside Poly's running back, the game changes. I mean, you've seen what he's able to do. He's a difference maker type of a player. So I think that has changed the game a little bit. It evens out a little bit. You're talking about taking one of the premier players in all of Southern California football off the field, and he's been off for 3 possessions now. So, maybe he's resting, maybe he got dinged, maybe getting a new jersey, but it balances the playing field a little bit.
All right, you talked about needing Hale, or at least a running back, to balance out the passing attack, keep that other team honest. So we'll see if Devontre Hale's going to come back here in the second half. I guarantee we will be back in the second half here on GTV. It's 21-17, Riverside Poly clinging to a 4-point lead against Tahquitz. We will be back here on GTV.
Welcome back to the first round of CIF playoffs, where Poly is leading Tahquitz right now at halftime, 21-17. I'm down here with Poly's principal Rowe. Now, you used to be Tahquitz's principal. How does it feel to watch your old school and your new school battle it out on the field?
It's an honor to watch both sides battle. I have a great affection for Tahquitz High School. My home is a Poly High School, but I'm proud of both squads. They're battling well tonight.
Now, things are getting really close here. Are you nervous?
You know what? I'm confident the Bears are going to do what they need to do, but you can never underestimate Tahquitz. These kids play with incredible heart, and they're going to battle you. But I'm confident our Bears are going to do what needs to get done.
All right, well, if you're that confident, what's your score prediction?
I'm smart enough not to give a score prediction. I know it'll be a good game, but I know we'll do what we need to do.
Oh, that's the easy way out. Well, thank you so much, Mike. Pep, back up to you guys.
Well, that's about as subdued as I've seen the good doctor, Dr. Michael Rowe, the Riverside Poly principal. Very passionate, very enthusiastic about his high school and, of course, his football program. The Bears leading 21-17 at this point. And Jenny Phillips, Coach Vinny Fazio, spoke with Devontre Hale actually at the half and went up to him and said, are you okay? Are you dinged up a little bit? And he said, I'm perfectly fine. So the plan was to sit him a little bit, get him some rest by design, but then it turned into 3 possessions. So I don't know how, maybe because there was some fumbles or whatnot, maybe there was some quick transition periods, but it turned into a 1-series drive to 3 offensive possessions that Devontre Hale was on the sideline.
Coach Brown knows his team. Nobody knows his team better than Coach Brown. He's been around him forever. He knows his team, and hopefully now Devontre Hale is rested and ready to roll, because they're going to need him in the second half. They got their hands full now.
So Poly hanging on to a 4-point lead. Most teams would probably be happy to just be leading at halftime. Tahquitz, though.
By the way, what a great principal Dr. Rowe is, huh? Is he an awesome principal? You have a better principal, more passionate, more into the students and student achievement. Riverside Poly really lucky to have him.
And not just for football. He's across the board. He's fired up about the theater performance that's coming up this week, and he's even trying to start a motocross league. Guys who do you do the motorcycles? Do you hop on the 2 wheels, Vinny, and go cruising around? And
God no.
Oh, well,
that stuff's dangerous.
Well, the good doctor, Dr. Michael Rose, looking for supportive businesses, families out there. Start this motocross league. Here we are, the opening kickoff of the second half. Riverside Poly will field it. Fumble on the play.
I think he was down.
Was he already down on the play?
No, he was still going.
Looked
that
like
was a fumble.
Number 8 for Riverside Poly, Desi Wiley. Was it number 8?
On the recovery. Gamma on the recovery. Looked like it was number 3.
Number 3, Lamette Fowler. For Riverside Poly.
Let's see if his knee was down. It looked like live. It looked like his knee went down.
The ball pops out, but was he down first is the big question.
Yeah, it looked like he was
elbow,
down.
shoulder down, and then the ball squirts out. So Riverside Poly starts at the 26.
Little trample counter again.
And that's Hubert.
Hubert again.
Still in there for Riverside Poly, but in a big run.
Yeah,
Looked like Devontre Hale with a nice
Hubert's
run like
a good
that.
player. I mean, but Devontre Hale's a special player.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's
no
only
slide
a
on
couple
Hubert.
of him in the whole world. That's not a slight on Hubert at all. He's a good football player. But there aren't that many Devontre Hales.
Josh Evans lined out to the near sideline. Keely Ross to Drakesland's right. He's also got Simpson in the backfield. Drakesland to Evans. He'll get a couple of yards.
Yeah, that's not a, that is not a called play. Drakesland just looks out there, and if you get too far off, if you start to back too far off those receivers, he just flips it out there and steals yards. And that was a way of stealing 5 yards there with just a quick flip out to Evans.
Trayvon Stewart back out there for Tahquitz. He returned later in the second quarter, anchoring that Tahquitz line. Great play by Tahquitz in pursuit, number 33, Chris Avalos.
Tahquitz is doing a really good job. They're just turning it into a train wreck inside. I mean, their D-line comes off hard, and they're just creating a train wreck where there's just nowhere to run for these poly backs right now.
Tahquitz with a man down. It might be Stewart again. Whoever it was just tossed his helmet off in a hurry. I believe it is Stewart.
Looks like he's I mean, obviously you're going to be frustrated. You're a senior in what could be your last game, and all I'm sure he wants to do is stay healthy and play in this game. And again, hopefully it's just a strain or cramps or something of that matter.
All right, while the trainers take a look at Stewart on the field, let's head to the sideline. Jenny Phillips has more. Jenny?
Thanks, Pep. So I talked to Coach Brown at half, and I asked him what was going on with his team. He was not happy at all with how they were playing. He said that they weren't executing in any of the 3 parts of the game, and that's just what they need to do. They need to execute. The positive, though, is that they did go into halftime ahead. Now, you can even hear the players in the sidelines here. They're yelling at each other. They're encouraging each other, and they're saying no mistakes. I did also ask Coach Brown if depth was going to play a role in this one down the stretch, and he said to me, I hope so. And it looks like it might be taking advantage of that right now. Back up to you guys.
Thank you, Jenny. Yeah, for Riverside Poly, if you got a man down, they've got about a couple hundred more guys. I'm exaggerating here, but they've got a huge army on the sideline to send in there. Tahquitz, meanwhile, you lose a guy like Stewart, and you're looking around to see who's suited up.
Yeah,
they don't have a lot of guys on their sideline.
They're going to have to get him off and get him some rest and ice and hope that he can come back. I mean, there's no other options. They're just going to have to hope they can get him back, and if not, then the next guy's got to step up and play out of his mind.
Next man up, it's the playoffs. I mean, and Stewart's a senior here. So
well, for some of these guys, this is the last football they're ever going to play. I mean, for most of the seniors on the team that loses this game, they'll never play football again. So they're, it's now or never.
Drakesland drops back, looking for Evans. He has him at the 45 to the 40.
That's too much cushion for Evans. You can't give him that much cushion. I know he's a deep threat and he can get over your head and get down the field, but
play him a little tighter than that.
That's too much. You can't give him 15 yards and let him throw for 15-yard chunks.
So it's 1st and 10 from the 40. And it's Hubert and Simpson still in the backfield with Drakesland. Keely Ross and Evans to the right. The handoff going to Hubert. Spins, stays on his feet, and he checks out around the 32.
And again, a play that doesn't go in the stats, but that missed tackle there in the backfield, that's the difference between a 1-yard loss and a 7 or 8 yard gain. There's a chance to make a play right here. Now it's a tough play coming off a block, but there's a chance, and he makes him miss and steals another 7 or 8 yards.
Nice play by Hubert to hurdle that man, spin, and stay on his feet.
They're offsides. And
they give it back to Hubert. Cuts inside. Gets flipped to head over heels.
Looks like
he's about to the 27.
Flag. Flag is holding. I thought Pauly was rolling into the start there, but like they called the hold, and the hold was on your boy, number 52. He's just all over the place, man. That kid can ball.
So Riverside Poly pushed back here. 10:06 to go in the third quarter. Bears up 21-17. As Jenny Phillips reported, Devontre Hale is healthy,
again.
Ready to go.
Somebody better block Rockmore, as Rockmore is in the backfield on every play.
Rockmore for Tahquitz has been a rock on that defensive side of the ball. He'll be counted on even more with Stewart currently not on the field after being injured once again. Hubert, there was Rockmore, had a hand on him, slowed him up just enough to have a couple other Titans get to the ball.
Right now, the Titans are winning the line of scrimmage. They are winning the battle at the line of scrimmage. And, Paulie's going to have to be able to throw it a little bit to get him out of this, because they are, right now they are beating Riverside Poly up front in a way that I haven't seen anybody beat Riverside Poly up front all year.
Well, maybe Tahquitz saved the best for last.
It might not be last. If they keep playing this way, they may still be going.
They took their lumps early in the season, but they're hanging tough now with Riverside Poly in the first round of the Inland Division playoffs here on GTV from King High School. Drakeslin going deep to Keely Ross. Wow, he had Ross. He put the ball where he needed to. I think 9 times out of 10, Ross is probably trotting into the end zone right now.
One thing he'll learn as he continues to play on that catch, he needs to have his hands up above his eyes. His hands drop below his eyes. When your hands go low like that, the ball leaves your field of vision. And I think the ball left his field of vision just for a quick second, and that's why he had the drop. His hands were up above his eyes. I think he catches that and he walks in the end zone.
So 4th down, Riverside Poly electing to punt here.
Still got to be cognizant of fake here. Lewis is the personal protector.
Kick is off by Hubert.
Wow.
Looks like Neely back there.
A dangerous catch.
Oh, that's Holloway fielding it. Barely held on to that ball. Now Tahquitz will take over around the 12-yard line.
Impressive defensive series there for Tahquitz. You know there was probably some fire and brimstone out of Coach Brown at halftime, and for Tahquitz to come out and get a stop, very impressive.
So Davis going back to work. Tialik Davis, the quarterback for Tahquitz. Stuffed right at the line by a host of Bears. Tualega, Samuelu.
Yeah, it looked like Samuelu was the first guy there.
But like you said, even if the run's not working,
got to keep doing it.
Got to
keep doing it. Got to keep those linebackers from bailing. Got to keep those D linemen from just, like a bull, stomping their feet and rushing the quarterback. You got to keep them honest. I think they're going to throw here. That's a good play. That's a good call. You don't need to get all of it back. You don't need to get all of it back on the first play. Get half of it back and now have a chance to convert.
Your guy Xavier Steele with the catch. That picks up a couple more yards. Now it's 3rd down. And maybe about 6, it looks like, if my math serves me correctly.
Seems like it would be another passing situation. So I'm looking for some kind of a pass. They're probably going to want to throw something that get the first down, get to the sticks, and convert the first down. Doesn't have to be down the field.
Receivers be mindful of that first down marker. He's going to let it fly. He's got nobody open.
That's all the pressure there.
And he gets rid of the ball. So 4th down for Tahquitz. So they're going to punt here, pinned up near their own goal line. And here comes Keely Ross. At the end of the second quarter, Ross was fielding that punt that he fumbled that led to a touchdown.
That was great pressure. Looked like Lowe was the defensive end on the pressure off the edge. Did a good job fighting outside of the reach block there and able to get right in the quarterback's face and force the throwaway. So he doesn't get a sack for that play, but definitely that's his play.
Lowe with 6.5 sacks on the season to lead the Bears. Ross is going to field this. He's got time. Shakes one man, goes to his left, going towards the sideline, takes a big hit by a couple Titans. Number 57 for Tahquitz. That would be Khalif Alexander, as well as number 20, Cedric Sagarnaga for Tahquitz on the play to stop Keely Ross. All right, let's go down to Jenny Phillips on the sideline. Jenny.
Thanks, Pep. Guys, it looks like Trayvon Stewart is going to be done for the night. This is the second time he's come out tonight, and trainers have told him to take off pads. He has a left ankle injury this time around. He's really emotional over on the training table over there. Vinny mentioned earlier that are probably never going to play football again after this game. And for Stewart, that might really be kicking in, especially if his teammates can't pull off a win for him. Back up to you guys.
Thank you, Jenny. Yeah, that's a rough deal right there, Coach, because such an important part of this team. They're still very much in this game. They can win this. He's a senior. He wants to be out there helping his team get the job done.
A second sideline warning penalty there on Tahquitz. They got to limit that. They can't get sideline violation penalties. Those are just too costly in this kind of a situation. They're in the game.
Zamudio in motion. He's going to take the handoff.
Good block.
Around the right side, cuts it back in. Zamudio's got green grass in front of him. Nice play by Xavion Steele to corral him and bring him down.
Hubert was the
About
key
the 12.
block. Hubert was the key block on that play. Got the outside shoulder on the fly play. Was able to block the outside shoulder of the contained defender and got the ball around the corner. That's a big block by Hubert.
Zamudio's played an important part for Riverside Poly in this game.
By the way, still no Devontre Hale in this game. This is a pretty long rest.
Hubert lined up behind Drakeslin. Drakeslin gives it to Hubert. He's met in the backfield, spins out of one tackle, but Tahquitz is there, and good old number 52, Rockmore.
I'm shocked at the job Tahquitz has been able to do up front against this big, strong Riverside Poly line.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but now Rockmore's down for Tahquitz.
That is bad news.
Looks like just a cramp maybe at this point.
Cramp, but again, you knew this would be a problem if Tahquitz got this game into the late stages. You know, they play so many guys both ways. Poly plays almost nobody both ways. So you knew that this would be a disadvantage for them as the game wore on. And, you know, they're just going to have to bite the bullet and try to fight through this. Because if they're not, you know, Poly's going to take advantage of them at some point.
Working on that calf muscle, likely a cramp in this case. I was at a Notre Dame game a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and all the players had to take pickle shots. Little Dixie cups with pickle juice in them, and they all had to take a little drink before they went out onto the field. My daughters love pickle juice, and they thought that was amazing. They're like, oh, so they have to do it? They don't want – it's like, yeah, they actually have to do it. They thought that was very neat.
Yeah, we do. You know, there's a bunch of things different guys do. You know, guys. Some guys like that Pedialyte.
Yep.
You know, that stuff fills you with the electrolytes, and you know, some guys just drink the Gatorade and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of different things that guys do. But yeah, it's a problem now. Usually, it's less of a problem later in the year. You know, earlier in the year when the weather's hotter,
sure,
and guys aren't in it maybe as good a shape. You know, before they played themselves into playing shape, because you know you can do all the running in the world that you want to in the summer. It's not like playing in a football game.
Absolutely.
So until these guys have played 2, 3, 4 games and played themselves into shape, generally early in the year is when you're going to have these cramp issues. But you know, Rockmore's played a lot of snaps today, and he's played really hard, and he's played extremely well. So you know, sometimes this happens. This is the disadvantage of having a smaller team against a bigger team.
A couple of years back, I had the privilege of covering a guy named Silas Nasita. He's now a running back at Baylor University, having a great football season. That program's really turned around at Baylor to become a football powerhouse. Well, Silas Nasita, I covered him in high school, and he always carried a bottle of mustard with him on the sidelines, and I would see him because he was one of those guys that went both ways. He was a running back / linebacker, and I'd see him on the sideline. He'd have the bottle of mustard, and down the hatch he'd squeeze a bunch of mustard into his mouth and head out to the field and
I have
call
heard
it good.
That. I've heard of that before. I've never actually seen anybody do it, but I've heard of the mustard answer. I've heard of the pickle juice. You know, different guys have different idees.
It makes for good video.
I just ate donuts before the game. And went and
How did that work out?
It was fine. It was fine for me.
I remember covering a high school football game up at the base of Mount Shasta. It was the Weed Bobcats against the Mount Shasta Cubs, and they had a container on the sideline that said Super Juice. Come to find out, it was pickle juice. First time I had heard of, you know, teams using pickle juice, but they call it super juice, and it was almost frozen at that point.
If you believe it works, if you believe it works, it works. You know, there's a reason that the placebo effect is a thing, right? Anything the kids believe works, works. We told our Ike kids, we got them Pedialyte for the first time. We go, oh yeah, you take this, you'll never be tired. That's what this does.
Oh, really, Coach? Okay.
Tired. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Never were tired. Kids played forever. We played everybody both ways.
So Rockmore's going to slowly make his way off the field.
Yeah, again, now you've lost the two big cogs in the middle of that defensive line. So you got to think at some point, this Riverside Poly, how many can you lose before the Riverside Poly O-line starts to take over?
I'm sure Gregovich is thinking, wow, things were going so well for my team. It's just a 21-17 game, but first you lose Stewart, and now Rockmore leaves the field. Drake Slint to Josh Evans, the slant. He's going to take it down to near the doorstep. Right around that 1 yard line.
Again, I mean, I hate to belabor the same point, but every time you see Drakeland have success, it's when the ball gets out of his hand fast. Quickly out of his hand, and that's when he's at his best. If he can continue to do that, then he's going to continue to have success. I mean, that's the key for him in this offense. Get the ball out of your hand.
In for Riverside Poly, Evan Telliard. He only comes in on offense when they get close to the goal line. Big, strong, tough kid. Just hand him the ball and let him wheel his way into the end zone.
Looks like Poly's got a kid dinged. That looks like Evans on the sideline over there.
Yeah, it is Josh Evans making his way. He's off the field already, but he's making his way towards the Poly bench.
Looks like he might have got hit in the nether regions, as Jim Ross used to say. Are
you a WWE guy?
In the bread basket. Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Slobber knocker? Evan Telliard gets the call, takes the plunge, and goes in for the touchdown. Evan Telliard, the touchdown for Riverside Poly, and that makes it 27-17. So a little bit of breathing room for the Bears, and Tahquitz with another man down. Their sideline is quickly turning into a mash unit on that side. And when you don't have a lot of guys, Coach, these are very costly when you see guys on the ground.
Yeah, and I mean, again, these have been legitimate things. It was a sprain for Stewart. It was you think, oh, well, a guy's just got a cramp, but you think that until you have a cramp, and then now Juarez down, and he's an anchor in the middle of that defensive line. He's been the nose guard and the shade for a lot of the game, and when you lose a guy like him, you lose Rockmore, and you lose a guy like Stewart, they're playing with guys that don't play much, right now. They're at a disadvantage, and they're going to have to do something offensively to give their defense a break and give them a chance to maybe recover a little bit.
Dennis Gregovich likely saying this is not happening. Stewart down. Rockmore leaves the field. Now Juarez being tended to on the field.
Well, you just keep waiting. When a team's as good as Riverside Poly, you just keep waiting for them to exert themselves. And every once in a while, it just never happens. Every once in a while you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and Oklahoma just keeps scoring against Alabama and it never happens. Or Central Florida just keeps scoring against Baylor and it never happens. But generally, it happens eventually. When the team is as good as Riverside Poly, eventually they exert their will. And I think that's what's happening a little bit right now.
Well, Juarez gingerly making his way off the field with the trainer. We'll see how Tahquitz responds when they get the ball back.
They're going to need to respond. Yeah, they're going to need to respond in a big way.
They don't want this to be the beginning of the end.
They're going to need at least a couple of first downs. You don't ever say, well, this is a must-score drive, although it'd be nice to score.
The kick is up,
nice adjustment,
and it squirts its way through.
That's a great hold and a great adjustment by the kicker.
If anything else, we've learned that Tahquitz has a good punter, good holder, and Riverside Poly does as well.
Yeah.
So it's 28-17.
Well, and again, plays like that you don't think about at the end of a game, but that's a 1-point play. I mean, if he doesn't make that, that's a scoring play. If he doesn't make that play, if the kicker isn't able to do that, if the holder isn't able to make that play, that's 1 point less you have in the game. I mean, those people overlook the kick game sometimes, but that's an important play right there. That's a 1-point game. Or 1-point play, excuse me.
So it's 28-17, Pauley on top, 5:54 to go here in the third quarter. Hubert getting a lot of the touches from out of the backfield and doing the kicking.
Yeah, I think there's a story there somewhere. They're saying there isn't, but.
I see Devontre Hill straight in front of us on the Pauley sideline.
That's the old, what are you going to believe, what I tell you, or your lying eyes?
That's true. Hubert puts that one in the end zone, so Tahquitz will start over on their own 20, down 11. Davis has made some great plays thus far, which is 4 games under his belt as the starting quarterback for the Titans. He's got Neely in the backfield with him, just off to his left. Davis lets this ball sail high over the head of number 1, Xavier Steele.
Yeah, they had the right play. I mean, they wanted to throw the hitches to the side without the drop backer, and the drop backer is Hirsch. So Hirsch is down here. They came up and found Hirsch. He's down here. They wanted to work the top side. It was the right call. They just didn't execute the play.
Devontre Hill undoubtedly anxious to get back into the game. There's Neely. He takes that pass, crosses the 30-yard line for the first down. Around the 33, it looks like.
I think the biggest credit you can give to a football team is they play hard. Tahquitz plays hard. I mean, that's as much of a compliment as I can give to a team. That team plays hard. I don't think they're worried about winning or losing the game, or I think they just play hard every single snap. And I can't give a bigger compliment to a team. They play hard.
And they certainly did not come into this game thinking, well, we don't have a shot, so let's not even show up.
No, they've showed up, no doubt about it.
From that opening drive when they scored. Evan Tilliard gets into the
he got
backfield.
a penalty, yeah. He did. This is legitimate.
Will that be a late hit on Davis?
Yeah, this is legitimate. You just, in the old days, that's not a late hit. 5 years ago, that's a great hit. But the rules of football have changed.
To protect that quarterback.
To protect the quarterback, and you just can't hit those guys late anymore. I mean, you just can't do it. And it doesn't look like it's that late, and it's not, and it wasn't it's certainly not a dirty play. He's not trying to hit him late or trying to hurt him. It's not a dirty play, but they're going to call that. I mean, if you hit him late, it's going to get called.
So now Tahquitz will start at the 48 and a first down. Davis back in the shotgun. He's been back in the gun all night. Feeling the pressure from Hirsch. Eludes it, rolls to his right towards the sideline, and he'll get out of bounds before
and I'm going to tell you,
Hirsch
is one of the best tacklers in Riverside County. You're talking about one of the best. I'll bet he can count on his hands how many tackles he's missed all year. So to make him miss in the open field like that is a great play by the quarterback. I'm serious. I'll bet Hirsch knows in his mind every tackle he's missed this year, and now he can add one more.
How many came against Ramona?
None. I remember I had 3 misses my senior year at Claremont College. I remember all 3 of them. I'll bet Hirsch is the same way.
You don't remember the good plays. You just remember the bad ones?
Well, I certainly remember all 3 of those misses. I'll bet he's the same way. I've seen him play. Good play there.
Davis had his man.
Yeah, if anybody out here is listening, recruit that Hirsch kid too.
C.J. Sullivan, the intended receiver. Yeah, if you're a college coach, you can make some one-stop shopping. Just come here and find yourself a quarterback.
I'll tell you what, there's a
linebacker.
bunch of players in this game that can play at the college level. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Even when you get past the elite level guys, the Hale and the Ross, Evans, obviously, I mean, Telliard, Hirsch, Davis, these guys
down
are
the
players.
list.
You know, Neely, I mean, there's a place for Neely out there. I know he's little, but there's a place for that kid.
Tahquitz calling timeout here, facing third down,
time.
3rd and 6 on the 47.
It's a good time for a timeout.
Like you said, this is an 11-point game. This could be the beginning of the end. Let the spiral out of control, or do you answer and respond and keep this within striking range? Let's go down to Jenny Phillips on the sideline. Jenny.
Thanks, guys. I have a couple of updates from you from the Tahquitz sideline. So Rockmore, he came out with a left calf cramp. He should be okay. They're stretching it out. They gave him a couple of energy gummies. Pep, I don't think they have pickle juice over there, though. Horace, his left shoulder got a little banged up on that last play. They did a couple of mobility tests with him. He said that the pain is subsiding, so both of them should be coming back in. I will tell you guys this, though. The Titans coaches are telling all of their players, everyone, stay warm, be ready. You never know when your turn is going to be up with so many injuries in such a thin team as it is. Back up to you guys.
Thank you, Jenny.
You know, Jenny is a Scripsy from Scripps College. Tomorrow is the Battle of 6th Street, the Claremont Mud Scripps Stags versus the Pomona Pitzer Sage Hens.
Uh-oh.
The biggest college game.
Oh, man.
Biggest college rivalry you've never heard of.
The little
Tomorrow's
big game.
The game. Battle of 6th Street.
You'll be there, right?
I will 100% be there.
3rd down for Tahquitz. Davis has time. Looking for Holloway. He's got it. And some.
Davis is a stud. Davis is a stone-cold killer.
I think you're falling in love with Davis tonight.
Davis is a stud, man. Standing there with great pressure. You know, again, great pressure by Riverside Poly. It looked like that was low again off the edge, kicking his heels like a bull rushing the quarterback. And Davis just stands in there and makes another clutch 3rd down throw.
So now it's 1st and 10 from the 34. Tahquitz driving here. 5:21 to go in the 3rd quarter. Riverside Poly leading 28-17. I'm Pep Fernandez, joined by Vinny Fazio, the Ramona head coach, and Jenny Phillips patrolling the sidelines. Davis gets that snap under control, lets it fly, looking for Holloway. That ball way short.
Too much
Probably
pressure.
has to do with Ibarra getting into the backfield.
Too much pressure. Ibarra got there right off the bat up the middle, and just too much pressure on the quarterback. That's a longer throw. That's a smash concept, which is a hitch out of the outside receiver, corner out of the inside receiver. It's the one they scored the touchdown on, but you need a little more time. You can't let them in that quick and throw that smash concept.
Do you serve gummy bears at Ramona?
No gummy bears. No.
That's new to me.
No, I haven't heard of the energy gummies. That sounds like something we might make up, though. Oh, yeah, it's an energy gummy.
Looking for Neely, couldn't haul that in.
It didn't look like there was much there. It looked like that Hirsch and in the corner Zamundo were out there. So didn't look like there was much there.
So now it's 3rd and 10. Still on the 34.
That look okay?
This is a golden opportunity for Tahquitz.
If you want to release that back into the flat, you want to go away from Hirsch's side. So Hirsch is down here. You want to work the top side where he isn't. Pauly goes
Davis
to man
drops
cover.
back. Once again, Davis on the run.
Just too much pressure.
Telliard is there for the sack for Riverside Poly. Big time play here, and that's 4th down, Coach. So you're on Riverside Poly's side of the field.
They got to punt. Got to punt the ball. I think this is a situation where the depth got them. They've lost linemen, and you see, look at Poly get with the pressure right away up the middle, and then obviously low again off the edge. And it looked like, is that man again, Telliard? He's a bad man. And it looked like he was the guy that got the sack, but just immediate pressure from looked like Justin Moore, and then low off the edge, and it's hard.
They corral them right into Evan Telliard, the team's leading sack
Telliard's
man.
a bad man. He's everywhere.
Here's the punt. Can Tahquitz keep it inbounds? It goes into
You know
the
what?
end
That's
zone.
fine, though. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
So 4:12 to go in the 3rd quarter, and Poly up 28.
Look at Evans. Look at
17.
Evans' bicep. He's got a full page written on that thing. That's when you know you got big biceps, man. That's like a page of Moby Dick written on his right arm.
What do you have, like a Post-it note? I
Yeah.
have like a little Post-it note. He's got a whole novel on there.
He's got a novel.
The Odyssey. They've got some big, strong targets for Chandler Drakesland for Riverside Poly. That is for sure. Keely Ross in motion. He's going to get the handoff. Cuts it back inside. Ross finally brought down around the 35.
He's a patient runner. Did you see how he was patient and let that develop? Kind of let the play develop there. Oh, we got a hold. Hold on Riverside Poly.
And this one's coming back.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see the flag, but.
Let's see. Check out the replay here. Our staff back there doing an excellent job.
Here. Yeah, it looks like it's there with a little bit of a tackle. 2 for a takedown.
So Akili Ross,
the offensive line.
Big run here coming back. So now the Bears on their own 15.
Looked like the left guard there was the culprit. Yeah, you just got to keep your hands in. You can grab a little jersey, but once your hands get outside the frame, they're going to call it on you.
Here comes Ross in motion again. Flag before the ball's even snapped. Drakesland and Keely Ross having a discussion.
Yeah, miscommunication. Ross thought he was supposed to be in short motion. Drakesland thought he was supposed to be in motion all the way across the field. And generally, if Drakesland is in that argument, he's probably right, since I think he calls a lot of the offense. So I think he knows what he called, but there was definitely confusion on that play.
So now it's 1st and 20. The Bears push back to their 10. Hubert still in the game as the only tailback. Drakesland. He's got his man outside, Lamette Fowler with the catch. That brings it to the 15. So now it's 3rd and 15. If Tahquitz can come up big time here on defense, they could pin Poly up near their own goal line and have some good field position.
Can't say enough about how well Tahquitz is tackled in this game. And remember, right now they're playing without their 2 best guys on the defensive front, but they've tackled so well. The brothers and their
Steel
secondary.
Twins
the Steel
have been
Twins
amazing.
And the secondary is tackled so well.
Drakesland drops back.
They got pressure.
Feeling the pressure. Tahquitz gets in. There's a fumble on the play. There's a mad scramble for that loose ball.
That's a bad play by him. He can't do that. And that's the 3rd or 4th time they're going to call this an incomplete pass. And he was trying to throw this forward, but he's got to stop doing that. That's going to cost them. He can't do that.
So as you're talking about the Tahquitz line coach, the Titans come up big once again.
Yeah, see, great pressure. It's a blitz. And the pressure on the quarterback, and then you see him kind of lose it there, trying to flip it like it was a pass, but you just can't do that. You can't.
John Reyes getting into the backfield for Tahquitz. So this brings up 3rd and 15. Drakesland's got Akili Ross to his right, goes to his left. Nice catch here by Josh Evans. And that'll be good for a first down.
Yeah. Right at the first down line. That's a good route by Evans.
That's
and
a smart play to know
Absolutely.
where that first down marker is, right?
Absolutely. That's a credit to him and to the receiver coach and to the pass game coaches at Poly that he knew where that mark was. He got right to it, and Drakesland delivered the ball right on the line.
So 1st and 10 from the 30.
What a valiant fight this is by the Tahquitz guys. I mean, what an awesome job they're doing. Got him on the counter.
Drakesland handing it off to Christian Garola. Musical chairs in the Riverside Poly backfield coach. Devontre Hale sat out a little bit, and we saw a heavy dose of the other running back for Riverside Poly, number 22, Matt Hubert, and now Christian Garola checks into the game.
Garola's a good player. He doesn't look big, but he can ball, and he's got a little quickness. So he's a little bit of a change up to Hubert. With Hale, looks like Hale's not in the mix right now. So with Hale out of the mix, he gives him. I think Garola gives him a little bit of a quickness guy, to go with Hubert, who's a little bit more of a hammer.
And Tahquitz with another man down. Forgive me if I sound like a broken record, but a lot of their players needing help off the field in this one. That's number 4, C.J. Sullivan.
And I don't think you can discount how physical Riverside Poly is in this game either. I mean, I think part of it is you're playing against a really extraordinarily physical team. And, there's some physical football in the Mountain Pass League. Hemet, certainly is a physical team. Citrus Hill certainly, but I don't know that they've seen anybody as physical as Riverside Poly. And so when you're getting hit by these big old tough dudes all the time, sometimes these hits start to add up in the second half.
1st and 10 from the 41. For Riverside Poly, Garola.
Drexeland's kind of started to get a little hot here in the second half, so we'll see if they kind of ride out throwing it around a little bit. This is run.
Play action. He's going to roll out. He's going to keep it, stays in bounds, finally steps out around the 48-yard line.
Another case where Poly blocks the run, and that time they fooled me. Blocked the run up front so it looked like counter, and then Drexeland comes out the back door trying to change up the reads, for the Tahquitz defensive linebackers and DBs.
Chandler Drexeland had a big game against Rubidoux a couple of weeks back earlier in the season when Steve Sarkisian, the USC head coach, was in the house. There's Garola. Big run for Riverside Poly. Garola, Devontre Hale, Hubert, whoever gets the ball, seems like they can get through.
What's the common denominator? Those big 5 dudes up front is the common denominator. They're making some lanes, and Tahquitz is a little depleted. It looks like Tahquitz has gone to a 3-man front out of their normal 4-man front, probably just because they don't have 4 guys.
3-4, yeah, they don't
anymore.
have more than 3 guys to put on the line. Drexeland to Akili Ross.
There he goes again.
Here comes Ross. Gets around his man, up the sideline, and in for the touchdown. Akili Ross. That makes it 34-17 Riverside Poly. 1:48 to go here in the third quarter.
Well, and that's the deal Drexeland can do to really hurt you. That's a run play. They have a run play called. That's going to be a run play, and he just takes it and throws it out there to Akili Ross because he thought that the DBs were too far off. So he just throws it out there, and up the sideline it goes. And then that's what happens when you're really, really fast. Guys have angles, but angles are different angles when you're dealing with Akili Ross.
Touchdown number 11 for Akili Ross this season. And it's now 35-17, so time is not on Tahquitz's side here.
No,
if they're going to put something together.
I think probably at this point, Coach Gregovich is thinking about his retirement.
It's 35-17. This could be the beginning of the end.
They're not out of the game, and you know what? You really even can't think like that. The way they got to think is, let's get a couple first downs on this drive and see if we can't get the ball into plus territory and then make a play. I mean, you really can't think. When you get down like this, you can't think in terms of the macro. You can't think of, how are we going to come back from 18 down? You got to think, let's get 2 first downs on this drive. If we can get 2 first downs, get it back to the 50, and then let's see if we have a chance.
So it's a 3-possession game now.
Nice kick.
As this ball sails out of the back of the end zone, and Tahquitz will take over at their 20. So 18 points. We're talking about 2 touchdowns, 2-point conversions, and a field goal, or 3 touchdowns, however you want to slice it. But we're talking about 3 possessions here with 1:48 to go here in the third quarter. Doable, but you're going against a Riverside Poly defense that has been doing a number on your offense.
Well, and the other thing you got to remember is you're going to have to stop them enough to
oh, yeah,
score
you have to
those
stop
3
them
times.
too? Oh, okay.
I mean, that's the challenge is you don't just have to score 3 times. You also have to score 3 times and hold them.
You need some 3 and outs. Davis looking for number 2. Holloway almost made a nice one-handed catch there along the sideline.
Yeah, it's really important for Tahquitz to get a first down or 2 here. If they go 3 and out or if they turn it over, I think they're pretty worn out defensively right now. So they're going to need some first downs. This can't be a 3 and out if you're Tahquitz. You got to do whatever you can. Now, obviously, you're always trying to get first downs, but it would be a really bad situation.
High snap. Davis does collect that ball, but here comes a host of Bears led by Ben Tualega to get inside. So Davis did a good job of preventing what could have been an even worse situation to pluck that ball out of the air.
Well, it's good timing on the blitz by Munoz. He hit it right. He timed the snap count, And the combination of a great blitz by him and, a bad snap, and Davis wasn't able to handle the snap clean. But I'm not sure what he could have done even if he'd have handled it clean. That, Munoz was just in too fast there.
Yeah, Jesse Munoz, the first man to the ball here. Now we're looking at 3rd and 17 for Davis.
There's a screen.
To Neely.
Yeah, Paulie's flying around now.
Yeah, he caught that screen pass, but he was met by a bunch of Bears in a hurry.
That Telliard's a bad man. You got to know where he is. That's a bad man. He's, he comes there and he's in a bad mood when he gets there.
And that's the key, right? We've talked about this before. You want guys on defense who get to the ball in a very bad, angry mood.
That's a bad man.
Well, the final seconds are ticking off here in the 3rd quarter. At what point do you just start going for it on 4th down? Because time is running out.
My philosophy on that is you got to just keep playing the game. The game in this situation dictates that you got to punt and trust that your defense can help you out a little bit.
So Munoz back this time for Paulie. It takes a Paulie bounce.
You got to just keep playing the game. And then maybe if you get real late in the game, you could start, maybe taking some shots. But you don't want to get buried. I mean, if you go for it there, you don't want to get buried.
Well, Paulie will start this drive in Tahquitz territory. But first, we go down to the sideline. Jenny Phillips. Jenny?
Thanks, Pep. You feel like you're starting to sound like a broken record with these injury updates. Well, I'm starting to feel like a medical reporter over here. You saw CJ Sullivan come out a little earlier. On that last drive, he got hit in the left leg. His leg kind of buckled, and he wound up spraining his hip and his knee. But you know what? He's going to battle through the pain. He will be back in. It is also worth mentioning that with all these injuries, Paulie's trainers actually spent a lot of time on Tahquitz's sideline helping them out also. Tahquitz has only brought 1 volunteer trainer, so that help is much needed. Back up to you guys.
Some very busy trainers, Coach. Thank you, Jenny.
Absolutely.
Tahquitz staying very busy on their sideline. Here comes Garola. Back to live action.
You're kind of where you talked about being earlier. You're in that point of no return time now where Tahquitz is going to need to get some plays, and I just don't know if they have anything left. It doesn't look like they have a lot left. They've been banged up. They've been worn down. And I think Paulie has now sufficiently worn them out.
And speaking of another Tahquitz player down on the field, Rockmore, always the first player to go to that player who's down for Tahquitz. Obviously, he must be a team leader, concerned about the welfare of his teammates.
Well, he'd be a team leader if he was on my team. I mean, I think that's a guy you follow. He plays hard. He does everything right. It looks like he plays a game with respect. He's not – he's not taunting, he's not talking, he just plays. And I think that's the kind of kid you want on your football team. So, he's a great kid. And, like I said, I think Tahquitz has a really nice little football team. I think just the depth of Riverside Poly and the talent depth, eventually has kind of worn the Tahquitz guys down.
This will give Dennis Brown a couple extra minutes to rally his troops. Just 3 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter.
You want to fight back, though, if you're Tahquitz at this point. You want to have some fight. You want to go out with some fight. They've fought really hard this whole game. They've battled and competed and done everything right. And so you want to keep doing that. And you may not win. You don't win every game you're in. But you always want to be able to say, we fought till the very, very end. The scene in The Big Lebowski where John Goodman says, I'm staying, I'm finishing my coffee. You want to stay and finish your coffee at this point, and don't go out like that. And so I think that's kind of where Tahquitz is right now. Let's stay and finish our coffee and not go out that way.
Well, such a respectable game for Tahquitz so far. We'll see what they have left here in the 4th quarter. Poly up 35-17. That was Gabriel Mayorga for Tahquitz being helped off the field. And guess what? He's another lineman.
What a great situation for Paulie to be able to bring a guy like Garola into the game who hasn't even played until late in the 3rd quarter, and he's running like this. He's running like a madman. I mean, that's a kid that hasn't even played, and you're putting a totally fresh guy in, to be able to run like this. What a luxury that is for Riverside Poly.
Well, they will have a fresh Devontre Hale, assuming they advance to the 2nd round next Friday.
He's going to have to make a move here. Nice tackle.
Keely Ross, nice tackle by Holloway to bring down Ross.
Holloway's had a heck of a game. He's been all over the field on both sides of the ball.
Good look at Akili Ross.
That's a great tackle. I mean, I don't hate to overstate. That's a great tackle, in the open field on a really good player.
11:30 to go here in the fourth quarter now. We are in the fourth and final frame from King High School right here on GTV.
Paulie called a timeout. Looked like there was some confusion about what they were supposed to be doing. Good timeout by Coach Brown.
You punch one more in here, then would you consider it smooth sailing from here,
Yeah, I
here on out?
think if they can score here, I think they can start to think about resting some guys and making sure they come out of it healthy, because they're going to have another challenge if they do pull this off. They're going to have another challenge on their hands, very likely with the San Gorgonio guys, which could be a big time game.
My good friend Chris Chaddick, he's an assistant coach at San Gorgonio, and I'm glad you brought up San G, Coach, because he just sent me a text message, 55-7 against Cajon. So assuming Riverside Poly wins, they will play on the road at San Gorgonio in the second round.
That's a little bit of a surprising score in terms of the how big that score is for San G to win that big. I thought Cajon would give them a little bit more of a run. So that's a good surprising score by San G. San G is very athletic. They know how to run that stuff. They run what they run, and they run it really well. So they're a factor. I mean, they're a good football team.
They've got a star player, Nate Metters.
Oh, he's good.
Who plays quarterback. I mean, he plays whatever they want him to on the field. Drakeslin lets it fly, looking for Josh Evans in the triple coverage. And it looks like Tim Neely coming up with the interception for Tahquitz. So maybe a breath of life into Tahquitz here as they get the ball back in the fourth quarter.
That's one of the things they say as a quarterback is on the list of the 10 commandments is you don't throw the ball late down the middle. See how he comes off his initial read and then goes late down the middle. Late down the middle is 9 times out of 10 an interception because the DBs are waiting there and they're waiting for the ball.
So there's Neely. He's brought down around the 14-yard line, and that's where the Titans will take over.
Yeah, that's a mistake by Drakeslin on that one.
Davis,
oh, no.
Another bad snap. It's bouncing around. It looks like Tahquitz does fall on that ball to recover.
They've been dicey with those snaps all day. It's been high a lot, and he's kind of saved them because he's big and he's a good athlete. But that has been dicey all game. And this is a really bad time for that to happen.
Well, anytime you're back in the shotgun, it can be a wild ride.
Yep, absolutely.
Going back to San Gorgonio, they're coming off back-to-back San Andreas League titles. Cajon was the third-place team out of the Citrus Belt League. So assuming Riverside Poly wins, that's where the Bears would be next Friday at San Gorgonio in San Bernardino. Tahquitz, it was a running play. The guy's brought down.
I thought he was down.
Yeah, the ball was forced loose.
Yeah, I thought he was down.
But he looked like, he was down before the ball was jarred loose.
Yeah, they didn't signal right away, so it made me believe they might give Paulie the ball there. But I've seen it live, I thought he was down. Let's see it on a replay.
Quentin Carter with a heady play to get in there, assuming that ball was still alive. Guess who? Evan Telliard on that play.
That's close.
Yeah, Quentin Carter was poking around in there.
That's pretty close. That's a close play. I think either way it wouldn't have been overturned on replay.
3rd and 17. Davis going downfield. Nobody there. So, Coach, it's 4th down. 9:58 to go in the fourth quarter. I know they're pinned up near their own end zone, but
I'd punt. I'd punt here. But, I definitely know there are guys that would go for it here. You saw the Bills last night in the NFL game go for it in a couple of situations, pinned on their own end.
You play to win the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to be said for that. I would punt and put my defense back out there because you don't want to, to me, you don't want to give them the ball at the 8-yard line or 7-yard line. And 4th and 17 is pretty low percentage. Unless you think you got to play.
4th and 17. Eric Rodriguez.
They're going to have to call a timeout here.
Yeah, Rodriguez. Looks like they were a man down. Here comes Neely racing onto the field.
Yeah, they're gonna
not in time. And it will be a timeout by Tahquitz. All right, they'll take a timeout on the field. A great opportunity to send it down to Jenny Phillips on the sideline. Jenny?
Thanks, Pep. Now, Gabriel Mayorga, guys, is another Titans that's going to be done for the night. He got hit in the jaw on that last drive, and they're worried that he has a concussion. The trainers are running tests on him right now. The big issue here is, though, he's had a couple of concussions before, and they want to keep him safe, so they're just going to keep him out for the rest of the night. Back up to you guys.
Goodness. Thank you, Jenny. Well, we knew Tahquitz would have an uphill battle anyways going against Riverside Poly. They came out in the first half, and they really gave them their best shot. But to just be undermanned like this, a lot of your key star players, especially on that line, not available. It's like it's not a fair fight at this point. You want to see Tahquitz at full strength to see if they could really challenge Poly here late in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think that's part of it, though. I mean, I think part of the challenge that you talk about when you play Riverside Poly, and this is going to be a challenge for San Gorgonio next week too, is they are two platoon of all pretty good players, and if you're playing a bunch of guys both ways, you've got to fight attrition, just the same as you've got to fight, their talent.
Rodriguez punting for Tahquitz. Big kick. Akili Ross will field it right around the 50-yard line. He's going to break a couple tackles going down the sideline. And guess who stepped in front of him? Rodriguez. But still a big return by Akili Ross to about the 24.
That's not the punt they wanted. That's too far down the middle, and it's far, so it kind of, you've heard the term outkicks the coverage.
Yeah.
And I've seen your wife, so I know you know what it means. But he outkicks the coverage on that one, and then they get on a couple blocks, and you get Akili Ross the ball with some space.
Nice play by Ross. He hasn't had many opportunities tonight, but the ones he's had, he's made him count, although he did fumble that one ball at the end of the second quarter that led to a Tahquitz touchdown. Drakeslin gives it to Garola. He goes up the middle to close to the 10-yard line.
Yeah, I think it'll be a heavy dose of Garola for the rest of the way out.
Jenny Phillips reported at halftime that Dennis Brown was just hoping to maybe wear this Tahquitz Titan team down.
Yeah, I think they've done that. I mean, I think that's happened, and that's part of the deal with all the injuries they've had. And
Garola again. Front, he'll pick up another 5 yards on that carry.
Pauly started to kind of take over, and you can see it on the offensive line.
Wore them down and knocked them down. I mean, several of the Tahquitz players, as we've been mentioning throughout the night, going down with injuries, especially those along the line. Drakeslin to Garola. Garola,
that's a good run.
Hustling, fighting, plows his way into the paint for another Riverside Poly touchdown.
That's a good run by Garola there. Good block by the pulling guard. Pulling guard picked up the linebacker, and then Garola just tucked his head in there and decided to run a couple guys over and get in the end zone. That's a really a little bit of a want-to run there. He wanted to score.
So Riverside Poly goes up by a score of 41-17. So suddenly this game is out of reach for Tahquitz. Is this one of those games, though, Coach, you'll look back and you'll see the final score and you'll say, it's not truly indicative of maybe how close this game was for a long time?
Yeah, it's a fine line that you walk with moral victories. You say, man, we were right there and we were in it for a while, and but in the end, you want to just keep fighting for as long as you can, and yeah, I think in the end this is going to look worse than it was, and Tahquitz is going to have to be able to do some things here, or they're going to score again. I mean, Tahquitz is going to have to get some first downs. If they give them the ball right back, I think that the Tahquitz defense is worn out. So Riverside Poly with Garola carrying the ball can go down and score again.
Now Devontre Hale, the star running back for Riverside Poly at this point, no real reason to check him back
into the game. No, I don't think we'll see him again, but I think it's an interesting storyline going into next week that he didn't play a snap after the 6-minute mark of the second quarter. So I think that's an interesting storyline going into the San G game, because Riverside Poly is going to need all hands on deck against San G.
And at that point in the second quarter, it was still a very close game.
Absolutely. This was 21-17 for a while. So again, you never know. You never know what was going on, but there's a story there. with Devontre Hale not playing after being such a workhorse for the first two, quarter and a half. To go from being the level of workhorse he was to not playing one snap, there's a story there. So, it'll be interesting because they're going to need him. I mean, Sanji is legitimate. I still think you got to think Riverside Poly's a favorite in that game.
Well, Tahquitz will start at their 30-yard line after that kickoff. Holloway gets it up to the 30.
Well, they've had trouble establishing that
scrimmage.
fly sweep. They've tried to get that fly sweep going, and they've just had trouble establishing it. Poly's done a good job, Lowe and Hirsch on the edges, of not letting that ball get around them.
Neely checking back into the game. Holloway steps off the field for Tahquitz. Looks like they're going to put Neely into the slot here. 8:09 to go in the fourth quarter. 42-17, Riverside Poly on top. Number 26, Chris Somerville with the carry for Tahquitz.
I think Tahquitz is trying to do the right thing. They're trying to run the football and control the ball a little bit. And you need to mix that into trying to get some first downs too. But I think they're trying to let the clock run a little and see if they can't keep Riverside Poly off the field. Because at this point you want it to look as respectable as you can, even though Coach Gregovich isn't coming back. Going into the offseason, I think he's probably still looking out for this team going into the offseason, and you hate to go in with a real bad number. You'd rather have that a manageable number.
Well, another snap that gets away. Davis retreats and falls on that ball.
That one looked like he should have had it. I mean, that one looked like it was fieldable, and Davis could have fielded that ball. So,
well, that brings up fourth down for Tahquitz.
I think we're probably getting pretty close to seeing some of the Riverside Poly offensive subs. Be interesting to see if they sub down a little bit on offense here.
Eric Rodriguez has had a busy night for Tahquitz. He's back to kick for the Titans.
Yeah, for the most part, he's been good. Even had a good throw on the little fake.
And it's Fowler back to receive the punt. Keely Ross not in there.
Well, no reason to
so
have
maybe they're
him
calling
back
off
there.
the dogs
Yeah,
at this point.
I think there's no reason to have you. Well, I think it's two things. I think you're calling off the dogs a little bit, but also I think you want to make sure you're healthy, and there's no reason to put a guy out there and have him risk, twisting an ankle or doing something where you might lose him.
So we've talked about this before on the Inland Sports Show, that San Gorgonio, if we're trying to preview that matchup with Riverside Poly, at least in my estimate, a little bit of a wild card because they went through the San Andreas League pretty much untested. We do know they have great skill guys, and they can score a lot of points, and we saw tonight they beat Cajon 55-7. What do you see it as a skill, like a team with a lot of skill guys and speed, taking on a team that can be physical and run the ball?
Yeah, I think San Gorgonio is athletically probably just about as talented as anybody. But the challenge for them will be kind of the same thing the challenge was tonight, for Tahquitz, and that'll be, can they continue to hit with them for 4 quarters? Can they continue to play with them that way, and play physical? Sanji plays a lot of guys 2 ways, and plays at a fast tempo. Poly's going to have the ball a lot. Can Sanji keep going?
That's Afi Tualega.
Yeah, can you imagine? That's their 4th running back.
He could be a number 1 on a lot of teams out there.
Can you imagine? That's their number 4 running back right there.
And Alec Quintero in at quarterback for Riverside Poly. So obviously the Bears already looking ahead to that second round of the Inland Division playoffs where they will meet San Gorgonio, resting up their guys, victory in the bag. Just stay healthy, right? Get out of here with the win and stay
You
healthy.
want to stay healthy. You don't want to get anybody hurt.
Here comes Tualega.
Well, they've done their job. They've subbed down, and now it's up to Tahquitz to try to stand up and see if they can't get some stops, and not let it get away. But again, Tahquitz has just been so depleted from an injury standpoint that you're not sure what they have left.
4:30 to go here on GTV. I've been Pep Fernandez, Vinny Fazio from Ramona High School, Jenny Phillips working the sidelines. And as she said, a lot of injury updates.
Yeah.
Like a medical reporter down there. The Tahquitz sideline looking more like a MASH unit because of all the linemen going down. Here comes Tualega again. Stays on his feet.
That's their 4th running back.
Keeps his legs moving.
That's a pretty good player. I mean, that's a great cut. Stuck his foot in the ground and cut it up the field. Finished the run strong, running over the safety and tucked the ball away with 2 hands, Yikes.
Coach Brown has a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, you have Devontre Hale, of course, right? Then you have Hubert and Garola, and now we see Tualega into the game.
Absolutely.
Tualega, just a sophomore. Hubert, a junior. Garola, a junior.
Yeah.
Do you have Pauly on the schedule next year?
I think we probably do.
Well, get ready for a heavy dose of probably Tualega.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alec Quintero in there at quarterback now for Riverside Pauly. He's a sophomore. Likely the heir apparent to Chandler Drakeslin.
This Riverside Pauly taking the delay of game penalty. I think they're trying to do everything they can to not score here.
1st and 10 from the 11. They cannot get another first down, so even if they went into victory formation, I think there'd be some time on the clock.
Well, and credit Coach Brown, too, who's a classy dude. I mean, a lot of guys are still trying to score at this point or saying, well, our JVs score. Well, yeah, but Coach Brown, you don't have to score here. You don't have to try to embarrass your opponent. You can have class and get out of the game like this, and that they're doing the right thing.
I spoke with Dr. Michael Rowe, the principal at Riverside Pauly, who previously worked at Tahquitz High School, and he was telling me that he hired Dennis Gregovich at Tahquitz 4 years ago, and he was very proud of that hire. Tahquitz had made the playoffs 3 of his 4 years. The last 3 years, in 2012, they made it all the way to the semifinals in the CIF Eastern Division.
It looks like Pauly's going to the best formation in football.
That's a good feeling, isn't it,
Coach?
Coach?
Victory formation.
When you're on that side of the ball, it's a good feeling.
Absolutely.
So under 2 minutes to play, good look at Dennis Brown.
What a classy move by Coach Brown. What a classy guy, again, from a coaching family and a guy that just oozes class. Just because you're good and you got a good team doesn't mean you don't have to be classy and doesn't mean you can't be classy. And Coach Brown is the epitome of not just an excellent football coach, but a classy man. This is a cool move by him.
Well, the points, they're not like cell phone minutes. They don't roll over to the next game.
Yeah, you're right.
So you can't pile up the points and say, hey, we've got 20.
No, and in the end, it don't matter.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, it doesn't matter what you win by. What matters is you survive and advance, and you keep playing and you play as long as you can. And Riverside Pauly looks like is mostly intact.
Yeah, looks
for
healthy.
Their game next week. Looks reasonably healthy once you find out what happened to Hale, and then you go from there and should be a competitive game with the San G guys.
Under a minute to play, Riverside Pauly up 42-17, and that will be the final score here from King High School. They will have to down the ball at least one more time before this thing goes final. But all the credit in the world to Tahquitz High School for coming out here and battling and
really
not rolling
battled,
over
yeah.
and really fighting to the finish here.
Yeah, really battled and gave it their all and competed and tried. I thought Coach Gregovich had a really good plan. He coached to win the game. I mean, they coached to win the game, and it just turned out they were a couple of guns short, but a great job by them and a classy job by Riverside Pauly. And, Riverside Pauly's a good football team. They're going to keep rolling.
Well, the writing has been on the wall for several years that this senior class at Riverside Pauly, when it was their chance, they were going to have a very good team. And
They
right
do.
now, yeah, they do. And they're advancing to the second round of the Inland Division playoffs with a 42-17 victory against Tahquitz. As we said live here on the air Friday in the second round. So Coach Riverside Pauly certainly on a roll. They've got speed. They can be physical. They can control the line. I mean, they do everything very well. What would you say would be the key next week going into that San Gorgonio matchup?
I think their physicality.
All right, let's go down to the victorious coach of the Riverside Poly Bears, Dennis Brown, and of course, Jenny Phillips. Jenny?
Thanks, Pep. Coach, congrats on the win. Now, you told me at halftime that you were not happy with how this team played. Assess their play in the second half.
I think they just gutted a win out. I don't think we played our best game. Hats off to Tahquitz and their staff. I think they do a great job. Obviously, their kids were ready to play, and they took us out of some of the things that we want to do. But we found a way to win. So credit to our team too for doing that.
Now, Devontre Hale has been the talk of the night. He didn't play in the second half, obviously. What was behind that decision?
He was just a little bit banged up, and we felt like, we got to be able to finish the game with, the next guy up, and the other guys did a good job in, doing that. So he's fine. He'll be okay.
Now, you guys will be playing your second playoff game at San Gorgonio. What do you do this week to prepare for that?
They're a high-powered offense, score a lot of points, and, we just got to, go back to work and fix, a lot of things that we did wrong. And, but hey, it's the playoffs, those things happen, and we're excited to be moving on, and we look forward to the opportunity to play next week against San G.
Thanks, Coach. I know these guys want to celebrate. Good luck next week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Back.
Well, Jenny Phillips, great job as always. So where there's smoke, there's fire. There was something going on, it sounds like, with Devontre Hale.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We're not crazy.
I might. I don't know. I can't speak for you.
When you have a guy that's special, that's a special player, Devontre Hale. You get to coach Devontre Hale one or two times in your whole career, a guy like that. So when you got a guy like that and you're in a playoff game and a dogfight and he's not in the game, then there's something going on there. And so you hope that he's healthy. And you hope that he's okay for next week because they're going to need him next week. San Gorgonio is a real life, slobber knocker, it's a football game. They're going to have their hands full, and they're going to need Devontre Hale next week.
All right, Coach Fazio, real quick, if you wanted to nitpick, what could Riverside Poly work on this week leading into that San G game, the second round of the Inland Division playoffs?
You know what? I think they're fine. I think Riverside Poly was fine tonight. I mean, they're going to need to secure the perimeter. They're going to need to play that zone read play. Because San G runs that so well. They're going to have to make sure that they tackle well on the perimeter with Hirsch and their weak side safeties able to tackle Metters in the open field and defend the pass. And that's going to be a challenge. But I think San G, the challenge for San G is going to be trying to stop Riverside Poly and their offensive line. And can they do enough to get off the field against Riverside Poly's O-line?
So once again from King High School, Riverside Poly opening the Inland Division playoffs with a 42-17 victory against Tahquitz. The Bears advance to the second round to take on San Gorgonio in San Bernardino. From everyone here at GTV, Jenny Phillips, Ramona, head coach Vinny Fazio, I am Pep Fernandez. Hope you have a great night, and thank you for watching. Riverside Poly advancing 42-17.